Oh, I was just realized I was muted. We're back at it again. There we go. This is how you know we're a little bit rusty. I didn't realize we were muted. I didn't realize we were muted. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna have ourselves a real fun time today. I know for a fact it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. We're gonna enjoy ourselves. And yeah, I think it's gonna be fun to see how we end up having this conversation. We're all good. We can hear. That's good. See, oh, it was bound to happen eventually. But you know what? We're here. Before we get started, I do want to say something before I introduce our guest a little bit. I wanted to talk real quick about an event that one of our past guests is doing. Azura. You're going to watch Kagaribi a little bit, maybe some of it. I'm not sure how much I can, but we'll see what happens. My plan is to do so. The funny thing is, when Kagaribi top 8 is going to happen, I'm about to almost get ready to go to work because I have a work thing to do that involves me needing to be up right probably when top 8 ends, which is a whole separate story. I kind of wanted to bring something up. I know it's an upset factor 10. That was the last thing I just saw right now. It's like moments already. Upset factor 10 has just happened. If you're watching the VOD, Kagaribi just started about 25-ish to a half hour ago, give or take, and there's already been a upset factor level 10 happening, which is crazy. But one thing I wanted to bring up real quick before we introduce our guest is the fact that we have a good buddy out of the UK. He's a past guest, Azura, actually. He's actually going to be doing something that he does every now and then from time to time. He's going to be doing the Rogue Summit, and it's coming back for its 8th iteration. And what's crazy about it is this is also going to be their 2-year anniversary doing so. And the theme is Civil War. So pick a side for the fight to supremacy and watch their 3-year rivalry finally come to end. Make sure you catch Rogue Summit happening May 28th through the 31st of 2025 over at his Twitch channel, twitch.tv Azura_XD, ASURA_DX. I said XD earlier, but it's DX. Or find it over on their YouTube channel at the Final 3 Productions. They're going to be raising money for a great charity. Go ahead and check that out whenever you have a chance. I wanted to get that out there because we gotta support the homies, especially when they're doing something great like raising money for good causes, right? So with that, let's transition to our guest. We're actually going to be interviewing, and we're going to be talking to a real cool dude. One of our folks out here. We have our guest, as you can clearly see. We got TuesdayTastic. It's crazy because the way their journey started was they were suffering a character crisis, and they started making a YouTube journey just to kind of see how they're going to solve that character crisis. And over the course of 2 years, they've gained 8,000 subscribers. Imagine 80,000, that'd be crazy. 8,000 subscribers. This deep into Ultimate's lifespan, able to get 8,000 subscribers from a brand new start just because they're suffering a character crisis, and all this to kind of document that journey to how that ends up going. It's pretty awesome that they're able to do that. But aside from that, we've also done a bunch of commentary. They've done things like from Heatwave to D-Genesis and even Eugene Bound. So you've seen them all over the place, on top of probably seeing their YouTube channel. Go ahead, like and subscribe to their YouTube channel. It's going to be linked in the description below. But enough about that. Let's actually get our guest in. Let's see if they are ready. You can hear me typing. Let's wait for the response. Yeah, let's do it.
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
How is it going? Indeed, I can see you over here on this end. Let's get you set up so that we can actually look proper, prim and proper, more options. Why is it only showing me? Yeah, so right now on stream, only you are on there. They can't see me. Let's do... they changed how... Oh, there you go. Grid view. There you go. They changed Discord again. God damn it. They changed Discord again. They have a tendency of doing that where...
Yep. Discord just is constantly updating. And I feel like it gets worse every update, but we won't talk about that.
1,000%. Boom, you're on screen now. Hey.
Yeah, hello, everybody. TuesdayTastic, the one and only, here to talk about... Well, I don't know what we got in store
We
today.
We don't know yet. But that's the great part about this, right? We have our journeys and we don't know where they end up going. It's Tuesday on a Saturday. Isn't that crazy?
It's Tuesday. I hear that all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, how often do you hear Tuesday on the day-to-day?
Not too much anymore. The meme peaked when Pokemon, like Gen 8 Pokemon came out.
Okay.
But like I'll hear it every now and then.
I'm surprised. See, I watch Hassan a lot, and every Tuesday they go Tuesday, or whenever they cover international news in the UK, they'll go Tuesday in it, oi bruv, and all that jazz.
Hey, you know what? It may be a stereotype, but whatever. It's a fun one.
It's funny because when I was doing the nanogram giveaway over on Blue Sky, the winner was from the UK. And I was like, oi, bruv. It's what? They're in oi, bruv? And he goes, oh, yeah, in it. And he said, boil water and all that jazz. And I kept naming. And then I think simple as, and that's the last thing I said. And I didn't know if there was any other memes. And he's like, no, all these are real things. They're not memes. I'm like, no, that's not true. These people aren't real.
That's awesome.
How you doing? How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Just got done with a shift today. Or did a lot of hiking for my job. I'm a door-to-door salesman, but
ooh, brutal.
Yeah, and so like, you know, the homes that are more likely to want to buy painting services, because I just work for a local painting company, are the ones that are right up next to the mountains and the rich neighborhoods. And like, it's beautiful walking around there, but it's a hike for 6 hours, and I am very tired. But, yeah.
Oy. After day one, it was probably like, I never want to like get out of bed ever again.
I mean, I do genuinely love my job. It surprised me because I didn't expect a door-to-door sales job to be something I'd actually be passionate about. But you know, it worked out really well for me. Again, it's a small company, so like I don't feel like I'm, you know, participating in the great evil of door-to-door salesmen
and all the depths of capitalism.
And I have standards. I don't knock on the no soliciting doors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
oh my god! Hey, you know what? It's better than like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of a terrible job where nobody wants to. I don't know. Better than being a police officer. Where
I
you actually.
I can name it easily. I had those jobs.
I was say it's better than being a police officer.
Don't ever get into SWIP contract writing. It's terrible.
Contract writing?
Dead end job.
Oh yeah, I can't even imagine what does that even mean?
So SWIP, it has 3 P's, SWPPP, and it stands for Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plans. And the idea is that before a construction company can get approved or whatever, they have to go through the government. And so I worked for a company that was like the intermediary between construction companies and the government. And those were the 2 worst people I've ever worked with. Just general groups of people. I don't like any of them. And terrible job. So I'm happy I found one that I like.
Hey, listen, you're providing real labor, unlike police officers who are labor traders, as far as I can tell. Bring actual value.
Hey,
bring actual value.
What? I wouldn't say it, but like, No, that's. I mean, I'll make that joke at the door sometimes. It's like, yeah, I'm not a pest control or a solar salesman. I'm selling real work here.
No, you are. Half the time, also, like, so the solar people who are selling solar, they're not selling solar. They're selling like solar financing, and they just get the thing however they can, and they'll like put like tax liens on a house. So like when you sell the home, you have to like pay off the tax lien, otherwise the home doesn't get sold. And then if that happens, all this goes sideways. The solar companies freaking take the home. That's BS. That's nonsense.
It's messed up.
Well, enough about the horrors of capitalism. Fellow Thumbs, how's it going? We are here again. Once again, we're here with TuesdayTastic. I kind of wanted to start from kind of like the humble beginnings, because like we were talking about in the intro, you have a pretty decent YouTube channel, like 8,000 subscribers. I think at this point you're over 8,000 now, if I'm not mistaken. I could start. Or hovering
I'm at
around
7,900.
7,900.
7,900, but like, I'll get there.
You'll get there. Not that more difficult. Apparently, YouTube Shorts is the way to grow. I just saw some video like, yeah, I went from nothing and I doubled my thing, but whatever.
I can get into YouTube Shorts because I have opinions.
That's good to know. That's good to know. But like, it's crazy because like, this kind of like late into a game's lifespan to kind of go from like 0 to like, let's just round up and just say 8,000 subscribers is pretty insane, right? Like, and it kind of started from, like you said, a character crisis. Now, there was something else I think that you did was during Supernova. So I don't know if this was exactly during the same time frame, where like you played Fox in every single version of Smash Brothers. You played it in 64 all the way to Ultimate. Like the differences between like playing, what was it called, Waterfall? I think what they did in for 64. So if I remember the thread correctly, because I remember seeing it the very first time, and I didn't even know who you were at the time. I remember seeing the post go viral. I want to say you played 7 games total, and you went 5-2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in 64, I went 2-5.
2-5. Okay.
Record.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mic.
But what ended up happening was in Brawl, Smash 4, and Ultimate, I went 2-2 in every single one of those games. And so like 64 was a Swiss bracket. The other games were just double elimination. Mm-hmm. And so by saying that I won 2 sets in 64, that was close enough to say I went 2-2 in my eyes. Ignore the other 3 losses. They were against like the Captain Falcon players who came from Germany. Like I didn't stand a chance. The
folks who
and then in Melee, Melee was the game I prepared for the most because Melee is how I got into competitive Smash, and so I really cared about doing well in Melee. And you know, Fox is broken in that game, right? And then I just immediately got shit on.
So it's funny because like it just be that way. It just be that way. But like. The reason I kind of wanted to start with bringing up that thread was, again, that was a great experiment that you did, and that went semi-viral, and like I didn't even realize that was you until like way later on. So it's kind of funny how that kind of comes a little bit more full circle. And where I really wanted to start is like was that kind of like your venture into content creation, or did you ever think about that from the very beginning, if I want to say when I say very beginning, I mean as you started getting into this game in the first place?
Well, I mean, I'll talk about the beginning of my channel because I think that's an interesting thing to talk about. So I started my channel about 2 years ago, in February 2023. And when I started my YouTube channel, I had a very strong idea of what I wanted it to be. Before I got into making YouTube content for Smash Bros, for the past like decade, I've just been writing articles for fun on a blog called onlyontuesdays27.com, because, you know, can't the actual domain costs more money, and I don't have that kind of money.
Great way to make money. Squat on domain names.
Right. Well, I think it's currently being used as like a dumb little birthday website for somebody, and I've messaged the owner, and he keeps leaving me on red.
Of course.
But anyways, so I was just writing articles for fun. My first piece of content I ever created was in high school. I started becoming a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons.
Ooh.
And I really wanted to do a good job. I really wanted to
my dice. I just wanted to show you I have dice, and I forgot that.
Well, hey, your dice tower's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got
so many. Hey, that's real cool right there. Yeah. It's been a while since I played. My group, we kind of disbanded because our DM got busy, and then we couldn't keep playing.
As the forever DM, yeah, it is ride or die for me. But no, so I started, but before I made content, what I did is I just read a bunch of articles on how to be a good dungeon master, to the point where I was on the 3rd page of Google, turning every link purple because I was just reading as much as I could.
Yeah.
And I then followed the subreddit r/D&D behind the screen, and they have a very strict content policy on there where it's you have to actually make content to post there. It's not just going to be a meme or shit posting subreddit.
Yeah.
And so I just was like, you know what, I care so much about getting good at being a dungeon master that I'm going to tell other people how to learn from my mistakes. Yeah. So my first article series ever was Learn from My Mistakes series. And then the titles were all super long and convoluted. But
as they are one to be from time to time.
Hey, when you're starting out, it's just easier to put words there than try to make it a really nice and efficient title. But I just started writing articles on Reddit for fun. And then a couple months later, I was like, I've written enough stuff. I'm going to put it all on a website. And my username has always been TuesdayTastic. Because when I was in middle school, I got lucky and came up with a good username. What can I say?
There you go.
Yeah, and then I would always say the phrase "only on Tuesdays" to people in response to whatever.
Yep.
And so I just made it my brand. And for a long time I was writing articles about D&D, and then eventually branched into writing about Magic the Gathering as well, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Got little cube right here.
Hey, heck yeah! Are you gonna get the Final Fantasy deck set?
Ooh, well, I have hot takes about that. Yeah,
I'm not one for Magic the Gathering. That's why I asked. I know there was that. They had Fallout. I think they had Indiana Jones, Back to the Future.
Well, the way it started was with The Walking Dead.
And Walking Dead, yeah.
And so this was actually one of my first posts that ever went viral. So when I was making content for Magic and D&D, I didn't care about the views. I just made decks because I thought they had a fun little idea to them, and then I would post it on Reddit. It'd get 10 upvotes, and I was happy. And I was just writing to write because I just genuinely love it, and so much so that I got my degree in creative writing. But what happened was, right as the pandemic started, Wizards of the Coast, which is the company that owns Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, they started. There was a lot of concerns and frustration with the player base with the corporation, especially regarding price gouging and just general capitalist endeavors. And so
as every company eventually does.
Yes. Publicly traded companies are a plague
Profit
upon
motive
humanity.
Of everything, exactly.
Yes. But what happened was the head designer of Magic the Gathering posted an article titled, "This product is not for you," which upset a lot of the player base because for the longest time, Magic the Gathering would, release 4 to 6 products in a year. maybe some side products, and like it would never get past like 10 products in a year.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden they were starting to print hundreds of new cards, so much so that me as a weekly content creator for Magic the Gathering, writing articles,
Yeah.
I could not keep up with how many cards were coming out.
That's
And
bad.
it was exhausting. And so I took this article I took that blog post from Mark Rosewater titled "This product is not for you," and I created an article titled "This article is not for you: Worrying Trends in Magic the Gathering." And I just used that article to like vent about Magic. It was the first time I ever did negative content, and of course, it's the one that got like 80,000 views.
Of course. In the
Right.
attention economy,
And-
everything that's going to be angry and clickbaity is going to get you first.
Yeah. So, but that was the first thing. First time I ever went semi-viral, and I was pretty burnt out on the game, so I never took advantage of going viral. I just stopped making content because I only made content because it was something I enjoyed.
Mhm.
I had no intentions of becoming a full-time content creator, but until now. But like at the time, I was just writing for fun. And then 2 years later, Magic the Gathering introduces a brand new product titled Secret Lair Walking Dead. And it was the first time in the entire history of the game since like the very beginning when they were still experimenting and figuring out what they actually wanted to do. It was the first time they ever printed cards for the game that were not set within the Magic the Gathering universe.
Mhm.
And it felt really weird that it was Walking Dead cards.
Yeah.
Like, especially because the show has been dead for like 10 years already. Like, it's not relevant anymore.
Probably easier to get the rights that way.
Yeah. But it wasn't just these Walking Dead cards.
Mhm.
Because later on, they printed this product called the 30th anniversary edition product. And in that product, they printed cards that they said they would never reprint again because collectors in the 90s were afraid about their collection losing value. And so they made this promise to those collectors: these cards will be put on the reserved list. They will never be printed again. So they broke their promise with a loophole, because what they did is they changed the back of the Magic card. You know what the back of a Magic card looks like? It's iconic.
Yeah.
So
That
what they
back
did
end
is
with
they took the back.
Yep.
They took the back of this card and then changed it to be something completely different, so they could say, "Oh, they're not actually Magic cards." And so like it was a reprint of the very first set of Magic the Gathering to celebrate 30 years, right? Good idea in theory. How much would you be willing to spend for 60 randomized cards that that don't even have the official Magic the Gathering card backing on them? What do you think is a fair price for this product that is celebrating 30 years of Magic the Gathering history?
I'm trying to remember. Wasn't it like $100+ for
go bigger.
It was because I remember it came with 3 packs with like 6 cards a piece, and it was like somewhere close to like 200 or something like that. Something crazy.
If you wanted to get 60 cards, it's $1,000.
Oh,
that is 4 15-card booster packs. 4 booster packs.
gross.
And they're not even real cards. They're not even like real official Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah.
And so like that combined with how much Secret Lair products they were printing, because like The Walking Dead was just the start.
Yeah.
After they saw how successful The Walking Dead was, because it was their most popular product by far, sold the most cards compared to any other product, they just went all in on it. And now we're getting Final Fantasy sets. Now we're getting Lord of the Rings, Warhammer, whatever. And
I think
to a lot of the
Avatar as
fans of the
well.
game, to a lot of the fans of the game who've been playing since, I got into the game because of the flavor, because of the world building, because of the Magic the Gathering universe. It was weird to see all these brand new IPs pushing their way into Magic in a way that just, felt like a cash grab. And it's gotten to the point now where, as of this year, they are scaling back in-universe Magic sets by 50% to make room for more Universe Beyond products. So I am getting less of the game I love for more, I don't know,
corporate slot
Walking
by
Dead,
comparison.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what I did was, at the time that this 30th year anniversary product came out, I created an infographic titled 30 Years of Magic the Gathering Products. And I'll actually post it on this, send it to you.
All right.
But what ended up happening was the article I attached to this did pretty well, but the infographic that I made, like, I hit the front page of Reddit with my article.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, because like I was just echoing the frustration of the community. And what ended up happening was the infographic I made went viral, and like people I know who know me, like we know each other in real life, but I know they don't play Magic the Gathering. I posted it in just a Discord we were in, and they were like, "Oh, I've seen that before." I was like, "Really? Where?" And so they showed me a video that had over 1 million views with my infographic in there.
That is crazy.
Let's see, I'm gonna try to.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. But the story doesn't stop there. Like this is my biggest it's not even a humble brag. This is my biggest brag.
Brag.
Claim to brag. Yeah. So go ahead and show them this infographic.
All right, let's see how we could do this. Let's see how we could pull this up. I'm gonna save this real quick. We're gonna add a quick image.
Sorry, I'm making you do OBS stuff on the fly.
Nah, don't even worry about it. We're gonna call it info. Let's see. Download. What's this called? All right, save image. I'm going to call it unknown. All right, unknown. Boom. This is the one, right? Where are you? Info. This is the one right here. Let's cover my face real quick. Let's cover my face. There you go.
Yeah. So, in response to the 30th anniversary edition product, I then decided to create a 30 years of Magic the Gathering products. And what I did is I spent an entire week working on this, adding all the little symbols to it. Like, it was a process. But you can see starting in like around the time we started getting really frustrated with the game was 2020. And if you look at the infographic, you can actually see at the bottom, 26 is the number. That's how many secret layers came out that year. The year before, you can see there was 7 secret layers. And then you can just see it just exponentially getting worse and worse.
Skyrocketing.
Yeah, in 2018, you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, around 15 products. By 2022, there's like 100 new products in a year. It's crazy.
Jesus. That's insane. That is capitalism and cash grab if I did see one myself.
Yeah, and I'm not even done with the story, though. Here's where it gets extra crazy. A few weeks after I posted this article, there was then a analysis of Wizards of the Coast done, not Wizards of the Coast, sorry, Hasbro Incorporated. Bank of America did a study targeting Hasbro. I have a Polygon article to post with this as well.
We can put that in the link a little bit later, but send it over when you have a chance.
Yes. So what happened was I read this Polygon article and realized, oh my God, they copied my homework. During that Bank of America meeting, during this meeting, they expressed that, hey, Hasbro has not been meeting shareholder expectations. The only division of Hasbro that is making money right now is the Wizards of the Coast division, which has Magic the Gathering and D&D.
D&D, yeah.
But is expressing extreme frustration with the with Wizards of the Coast because of their greedy corporate practices. And they posted this other graph, which if you could put that on the screen, people could see.
So you just sent it over. Let's see what you sent over real quick.
Yeah, so they then took this, they basically took my infographic that I made, businessified it. Yeah. And in the bottom corner, you can see that the source is fandom. I never watermarked my original image.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean,
let's
maybe watermarking would have prevented it from going as viral as it did. So
let's real quick. Let's actually bring up the little screenshot that I have right here.
In that meeting with Hasbro Incorporated. Yeah,
we're gonna just post that real quick.
With Bank of America, they slashed a pretty high degree of confidence that I am indirectly responsible for costing Hasbro millions of dollars.
That's insane.
I'll take it. It's a crazy story. Not many people know about.
Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh my lord. That's crazy. That is not the plot twist I was expecting to be at the end. Oh my god. That's so insane.
Yeah. It's a crazy story.
Oh, but my lord.
When I posted that infographic to Reddit, in my article attached with it, as soon as I hit submit, I knew that it was going to go viral.
Yeah.
And the reason I knew that is because I had previously gone viral in the past, and I learned a lot from that. What I learned is that, if you're echoing the frustrations of a community, they can multiply your voice as long as you're actually representing the community.
True.
And in this instance, a major demographic of the community was very frustrated with the greedy corporate practices that Wizards of the Coast was taking. It was hurting us. It was hurting our enjoyment of the game. I still love Magic, but I haven't bought cards for it in who knows how long.
Yeah.
I've just effectively stopped playing the game because a lot of the time it's not the game I love. Actually, I know what I bought cards. It was for Bloomborough, which was a set that came out this last summer that reminded me of the Magic I grew up and loved.
That good old school stuff. That good old school feeling.
Yeah.
Man,
so I don't know.
I still can't wrap my head around what you said.
It's yeah, I have the evidence to back it up. I'm not
no. That series of events really did transpire, and again, I just didn't see that happening.
Yeah. So this is where I started, was content for Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, and I wasn't bad at it. I had a decent following. But I got so burned out on Magic the Gathering that I just stopped making content for it because I couldn't keep up with how many cards were coming out. And it was during this time period that I graduated with my degree. And the first thing I did with my creative writing degree was get a terrible job doing SWIP contract work.
Oh, yeah. Technical writing, I'm guessing, is what it really is, right? Those kinds of,
if you could even call it that. That company, it was rife with problems, and I don't even want to go into it. It's that bad.
That's fair. So we got to. First off, that is a crazy way to. I don't want to say cap your intro to content creation, but that is quite a way to have a lasting influence. So much so that you tanked millions of dollars into the company. That's awesome.
I mean, at the end of the day, it wouldn't have happened if they weren't being stupid.
Yeah, but
so
yeah. You had a great. I'm going to say this right now, though. That is almost as good as like the guy who does videos for More Perfect Union, Sean Morrow. He right when like Twitter check marks became like, oh yeah, as soon as you pay for one, you get verified. He did one for Eli Lilly, paid $7 for it, and like decimated the value of actual Eli Lilly, the folks who are responsible for like the biggest manufacturer of insulin, because tweeted saying, hey, insulin's free now, and then.
Oh wait, that was him? You interviewed him?
No. Sean Morrow, he does stuff for More Perfect Union, and I saw that video, and he did a video. Imagine I would have done that. No, that's crazy. But yeah, that's what he did, and I'm like, yo, that's almost like those two things, like the Eli Lilly guy and you, like just do. That's pretty insane. Yeah, so that's pretty. That's
infographics can be powerful.
Exactly. So like I said, that's a pretty like insane, I want to say, cap into that part of your journey to content creation. So what I kind of want to know is, where does like Smash or FGC or in general, or like competitive games like this kind of like start, and like, was it in the same time frame? Was it before? Where does that kind of like come from? And what eventually led to, these years later of like, I think when I do some content creation, I want to do it for Smash specifically.
Yeah. So this is also a good story. When I started playing Smash Bros, it was during the Smash 4 era. But I initially started by spectating Melee. I think my first set I ever watched was like HBox versus Armada Evo 2016.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a very
good set to start it off.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
I didn't know people hated HBox at the time, so I was just cheering for the Jigglypuff. Although, funnily enough, now as I've learned way more about Melee, Armada's my goat. Sorry, Mango fans.
There's the video that Turned Down for Walt did, where it's like, it's always been Mango and Armada, but the problem is the secret real question is it HBox, Mango, and Armada? Not Mango, not HBox definitive third. Is it HBox, Mango, Armada? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the longer Armada's retired, the more that his argument is going to go away. But at the end of the day, I'll at least call him the BOAT, the best of all time.
The best of his time.
Yeah, he was. He was almost untouchable. I loved watching his gameplay. So what happened was, I started competing, or I got into competitive Smash Bros around this time, and I had a 3DS. So I just played Smash on my 3DS, and what I did is, for the longest time, I was playing it casually. Then I learned about the competitive scene, but I didn't want to play with my 3DS on Wi-Fi, so I just played against CPUs, had it set to the tournament rules on my 3DS, and I would just play that all the time, and occasionally play with people in like my dorm or whatever, my college dorm. But I got to go to my first Smash 4 tournament in person near the end of Smash 4. It was like 6 months before, maybe a little. No, it was earlier than that. Like a year before Smash Ultimate came out.
So like 2017.
Yeah.
Give or take.
And there, I just remember getting ledge trapped by a Corrin charging F Smash, and I had no idea what to do.
It'd be that way.
But what's funny is, at that local, I actually did commentary. Like, they let me on the mic, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Do you happen to remember what that one was? What it was called?
I could never find the VOD. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
I say that because like my first in person was Brinstar Depths out of Canoga Park in the San Fernando Valley over here in SoCal, and it was ran by Dreamcatcher Gaming. I went 2-2, or not 2-2. I went 0-2, just like everyone should at the very first time.
I went 1-2 actually.
You went 1-2. All right, cool. All right. Sorry, my bad.
I'm just that good.
So yeah, because like for me, like I started relatively late, right? My first like actual like fully following Smash Brothers was Ultimate, because right before that dropped, I got into the Smash Dock, the original Smash Dock, which is like now is now over a decade old. In case
you could call me a dock kid, even though I didn't watch the dock until much later.
Okay. Yeah. So
but that was around the time I got in.
Yeah.
It was like 2016.
I think that's when that was probably about a year or two after the last episode. The last episode drops, because in that time they're going through the real revival. I wonder if I'm not mistaken, because they've already like started the events of fundraising for Evo 2013 already happened. And it's like, hey guys, look, we're coming back, So you're literally at that tail end of like when the doc is finishing or had just finished. That's crazy.
Somewhere around there. But like
golden age.
The main thing that was keeping me from attending locals during Smash 4 was just the college I was going to was in the middle of nowhere. And so I had my friends at college who played Smash, who a lot of them are still my friends to this day. And we still go to locals together. But yeah, I didn't attend my first local until after I was almost done with that college, because I did 2 years at it, and then moved back to the city to finish my degree. And when I came back, I started going to this college in the city around when Smash Ultimate came out, and I told myself as soon as Smash Ultimate was coming out that I was going to go to locals more often. And at the start of Smash Ultimate, I had a legitimate character crisis because my main in Smash 4 was Marth. MKLeo Marth will always be the most beautiful thing to me. But like I would play him, but in Smash Ultimate he was so bad at the start of the game. I think he's good now. I think he's like gotten enough buffs that he's viable. People just don't play him. It helps that the number 2 player in our state does play Marth Krieg.
I only know one Marth player out. Out here from SoCal. Yeah, literally the only one I'm aware of.
But hey, you know what? SoCal and Utah can both agree that Marth can do it. I'll say that. True. Yeah. So, but like at the beginning of Smash Ultimate, that was not the case. I remember I got Lucina into Elite Smash before Marth, and I was just staring at the screen like, I can't believe this. But I was starting to experiment with Daisy at the end of Smash 4. I was picking up Peach, specifically the orange skin, because I do care about Daisy. And then I saw Daisy was getting announced for Smash Ultimate, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll play a little bit more Peach, like figure out this character, at least the basics of her in Smash 4. And then Ultimate comes out. I have a fling with Parada Plant. I try out Captain Falcon, but he feels weird because he was Captain Falcon feels very different in every Smash game. And then I mained Toon Link at the start. That was my first Smash Ultimate main, I'd say. But eventually I was like, okay, I like Daisy a lot. She's one of my favorite just Nintendo characters. She's good in this game. She's top 5. And at like a house tournament with like 10 people, I won the tournament by switching to Daisy. So at that time I was just like, you know what? This is my main now. And so for 4 years, I just mained Princess Daisy. And I had a great time. I still love her. She's still like, I got this from, I got this mug.
Oh.
With Daisy on it. And at Genesis, Umeki was in my pool.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
With the Stitch face. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, Umeki is like my number one favorite player. I hope he does well at Kagaribi.
I hope so too.
But so I mained Daisy for 4 years. And during this time, this was when I was doing my Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons content. But I still loved Smash. I was attending my locals. I was, I watched every single tournament. I care a lot about Smash. And so what happened was, let's make big moves. 2020, I want to say, right before the COVID. That tournament happened, and Meister got top 8. It was his first top 8, and it was the first time a Game & Watch was actually considered good. Surprising, right? We all think Game & Watch is broken now, but we did not back then.
There was that early tier list that made him like mid-tier at best, and then the rise of Meister happens.
Yep, and then Mia, and then Monty, and it's like, okay, maybe you just need to choose a tag with the letter M and the teal color, and you'll do well.
The Cyan Assassins is what they are.
Cyan Assassins, yeah, I like it. But during this time, let me see if I can find this article on my website, because I decided to make a article about this top 8. And what happened was I spent hours working on this article. I spent more time on this article than I did for any other article I had done up to that point. And there we go. I got it. And so I just did this big ol' analysis of the top 8, and also figured out how to upload GIFs to my website, because Smash Game and a lot of the points I was trying to make required the use of GIFs. I specifically remember talking about how Meister would up air people and how he would track their drift to keep them in disadvantage. So I spent all this time working on the article. I post it, and MVD, who was in the top 8 of this tournament, retweeted my article too. The article got 8 views. Single digit views.
Yeah.
And after spending literal 10 hours on this article for less views per hour than I worked on,
there that is.
I was just like, okay, this is not how you make Smash Ultimate content. People do not want to read articles. People don't care about top 8s unless they're watching them. And like the analysis I made, just nobody read it. And so I put Smash on a back burner of like, I want to keep making content for Smash, but I need to do it right. I need to do it in a way that people will actually watch my content. It was during this like period of time that I started having a legitimate secondary crisis. Daisy was still my main, but Captain Falcon was my secondary. He doesn't cover matchups for Daisy though.
No.
And I love him, but like he's a flawed character.
There's a reason there's only the only Falcons that people know are like Andrik, Jokibu, and Fatality. They're the only ones who were ever really able to do it. Unless you count Sean, where right, that was his name, Sean. Sean. Like
Captain Krupp too.
Captain Krupp. So you really got about 4 people, really, right? Even then it's hard for them to have gotten, up in those heights. Yeah,
but like I was curious about exploring a secondary, and I heard that Palutena covers a lot of Daisy's matchups, and so I was like, I'm going to try out Palutena for a month. And it was during this time where I was playing her as a secondary that I started getting the idea for like, what if I did an article series where I just talked about I mained so-and-so for a month. And I started talking with a person who is now Electric Wind girlfriend, because she's a part of our Utah Smash scene. And she was actually writing articles for the Utah Smash scene. They were just little articles saying like, oh, this player did well this week. Like they beat their bracket demon or whatever. Yeah. Very local content. Very just like, content for the passion of content, not for the views. And so I was talking with her about making articles for Smash Bros. Because we had both been doing that. And it was during that conversation that I got the seeds for the idea that would eventually become Character Crisis. I eventually stopped playing Palutena. I still like the character. Excited to main her for my series someday. But I actually went back to playing Marth again. And the reason I did is because Krieg was doing really well in Utah. And I just played Marth versus like a random CPU once, got a Tipper F smash, the dopamine flooded in, and I was like, oh, I gotta play this character again.
That sound must have sounded crisp.
It changed a lot. And so I started picking up Marth as my serious secondary. And then 1 month before starting my YouTube channel, I actually took a set off of the 5th best player in Utah at the time. My Marth. So like I was actually starting to do pretty well. I would say that I was a 2-tour, like a consistent 2-tour throughout most of my competitive career. But that was like that was my first PR win.
Mm-hmm.
And then a month later, I'm maining Mario. But specifically what led to the creation of the YouTube channel was I was thinking about this article series. I was like, I could do it like once a month. I could like really experiment with the characters and whatnot. And then the words Character Crisis popped into my head. And I was like, that's it. That's what the series has to be. Mm-hmm. I knew it had to be YouTube because I'm not going to upload that many GIFs to my website. I knew that it had to, I already had the vision for the thumbnails too. One of my favorite like pieces of Smash art when I first got into the game, I had this as my phone background for years, was a minimalist Marth background. Mm-hmm. And you can see like he doesn't even have a face. His clothes are blending into the background, and like I really like this minimalist style. Mm-hmm. And so I knew that for my thumbnails, I was going to have Mario with the background being red and his arms and Cappy blending into the background. So all you can see is like Cappy's eyes. And I had a very strong visual idea for the series after the words Character Crisis came into my head. And this was when I realized that Character Crisis had the kind of potential to maybe become my full-time job someday. Mm-hmm. I've been making content for 10 years now. And when I came up with the idea for Character Crisis, I knew it had potential. But an idea is only as good as its execution.
True.
And one of the things that was like challenging at the time was when I started my YouTube channel, it was exactly when Panda was exploding.
During the what's it called? During the Panda Cup and like the end of that and like its simultaneous run with like Smash World Tour and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, Summit was dying too. Like it just big esports orgs were pulling out of Smash Bros. It was a doomer moment for a lot of Smash fans. But I started my channel then because for multiple reasons. One, the best time to start a YouTube channel about a Character Crisis would have been at the start of the game. Like if I was on top of it and like had this idea when Ultimate first came out, my channel would be much bigger. I'm not going to name names, but I've seen pieces of content from the beginning of Ultimate that are just straight up garbage. With millions of views. And it's just because it was just the beginning of the game.
Being on the ground floor.
Yeah, Smash lost its mainstream attention, but it still has its try-hard player base. And I also knew that if I were to start my YouTube channel when I did, better late than never, right?
True.
But more importantly, I knew that I would be making content in a world of content where nobody was really trying to make high-quality videos about Smash Bros. Anymore. And so I knew that my channel could stand out because the competition was just so much lower. And the competition that was like the really good creators either stopped making content about Smash Bros. And moved on to other subjects or just left their channels alone, right? Or they switched to lazier daily content, which like get that bag. But like that's not the kind of content I wanted. I wanted like really deep dives on all the characters in Smash.
I think the other the big problem too is like, if we look at something like those hyper specific in-depth things, at least on the Ultimate side, a lot of that went away once Panda fell apart. The Smash esports bubble just starts getting decimated, and the only thing that really exists that's left are the in-depth Melee analysis, really, because like it's always easier to go back and look at things a little bit more with a historical lens and figuring this stuff out. So like, and even then, at least to my knowledge, kind of the only one that's really doing very much of that most people know is Turned Down for Waltz. Who's doing that kind of stuff. I know you have folks
I'd say that there are good quality channels out there that just go ahead.
I was gonna say, because like on the Ultimate side, as far as like deep analysis in how we used to have it, doesn't really exist as much. You have, Rister Mice with the different recaps for the different tournaments in that same way, kind of like how PG Stats used to do. You do have ESAM with like some of the either character analysis or stuff like that he does. But it's not like how it was before, where the deep dives for per character or per even just small interactions was, because a lot of that backing doesn't exist anymore. Or like you said, a lot of those channels have either changed or moved on from that high level deep thought analysis or work on it,
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd say actually that Smash Ultimate is going through a content renaissance quietly. It's not something you necessarily would notice unless you're really plugged into the sphere, but like Fire the Pyro, I think, has been the forefront of like the new trend of Smash Ultimate YouTube, where it's like deep dives on specific moves on specific characters. Like you just really narrow down onto like one specific thing. And like I've been seeing that content doing really well. I mean, Avenger Spencer, he only has one YouTube video right now, but I mean, same idea. He just talked about Anvil. It's Steve's Anvil and how broken that is. That kind of content is starting to do really well on YouTube. But when I started my channel, none of that stuff existed. There was a void for content, and I felt like I could fill that niche. And when my first Mario video is pretty rough around the edges, but I mean. Yeah, I mean, I was literally recording in a closet because the basement apartment I was living in was awfully noisy. And so, like, I was just trying my best. And, my background comes from writing articles. I could write a good script, but the editing, I was self-taught. The thumbnails, like, self-taught. Like, basically everything about my channel has just been me figuring it out as I go and using Google a lot.
Yep. YouTube University as well.
YouTube makes YouTubers.
There you go. I think the thing that like again people don't really understand is like, if we're looking at like how content works, the piece of advice that everyone always says is like, make it first, right? And like having all of the skills that you have are great and everything, but you don't know what you're making until you actually make it for the first time, right? And like the evolution of where you start from to where you get to doesn't happen until you make those first set of rough mistakes, first set of whatever that teaches you additional skills up until the point to where you get to where you need to be. And then next thing you know, you have 8,000 subscribers.
Yeah. So, and like, I didn't start off thinking I would become a YouTuber. Like, what happened was at that job where I was doing the SWIP contracts or whatever, I got fired / quit. That's its own story. And I was just kind of left floating for a few months of like, this is what my creative writing degree got me.
Mm-hmm.
A dead-end job that made me hate my life.
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing? Like, I was really depressed at the time, because like I just felt like I just wasted a university for a degree that wouldn't actually make me money. And I mean, I went into creative writing. I knew what I was getting into somewhat, but
a little bit more
but it was
useful than
during this
underwater
time
basket
period
weaving.
that the idea. Oh, go ahead.
No, I said it's a tad more useful than like underwater basket weaving or something.
Right. Yeah. So it was during that the idea for character to YouTube, or had used Smash Bros specifically
Mm-hmm.
to become big on YouTube, and then they pivoted out of Smash Bros after they had reached a certain size.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I could take my branding of only on Tuesdays, start off in the niche of Super Smash Bros, which is a niche I'm very passionate about, with a unique twist. And I knew that I knew that I had potential. And so, for a period of time, I was working 40-hour work weeks, or just normal job stuff, and then 40 hours on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot. But I treated it like a job.
Yeah.
Because I knew that if I did, it could eventually become a job. Now I've pulled back a little bit. Like, I'll tell you this much: $8,000 or 8,000 subscribers is not equivalent to $8,000. And so, as much fun as the content is, like, don't go into YouTube thinking you'll make money. I can guarantee you that it's not going to start that way.
Like, real YouTube money don't really start hitting until you get 100,000 subscribers. Like, above minimum wage doesn't pay your bills, doesn't happen until you get 100K. Right?
You don't even get, you don't get minimum wage until 100K. It's bad. It feels that way.
Is it? You don't pay bills until then. At least that's what I keep hearing.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, but I mean, there was a period of time when I first got monetized that I was like, "Ooh, I can do it. I can do this." Because my first month after I got monetized, I had my best performing video. It was my Ridley video. I got monetized within 6 months of YouTube, and I think that happened so quickly because I went into making a YouTube channel with a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I am the character crisis guy. I have an idea for my thumbnails. I have an idea for the type of content I want to create.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling a unique story that no one else is telling. And like, my branding was already good. Like, and my years of content creation beforehand prepared me to make a successful YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So, like 1,000 subscribers within 4 months, monetization within 6. And I posted my Ridley video. It got 20,000 views, and I was just like, "Oh, I can actually make this my part-time job now."
Mm-hmm.
And then the views dried up the next few months, and I was getting my blood drawn to afford rent.
Oh no! Oh, not just the emotional energy, not the actual lifeblood. Not the emotional lifeblood, not the real blood. Selling plasma and all that jazz.
YouTube is literal blood, sweat, and tears for me. What can I say?
There's so few people that can really say that and truly mean it.
Yes, I can say that.
So that was kind of what I wanted to ask. Like, if you want to make a quick stop part here, like, how did that start? So that's actually super quick. Like for any channel, really, but especially considering,
I think 1% of channels will get monetized that quickly or something. I don't know the actual number, but it's small.
I want to say it's 1% of all channels ever reach monetization ever, and even less actually get to the points where you're at. 3 months to get to 1,000 and then 6 months to monetize is pretty insane. Again, I want to harp on the fact that it's so late into the game's lifespan that we're at a point where certain forms of analysis or certain forms of the content in general has moved beyond the point of, hey, this is how you can do a basic Falco combo. I mean, like, that doesn't work anymore, right? There was this
that content's not going to work because it's already up there.
Yeah, like there was this channel at the very, very beginning of Ultimate that I watched called Meta Smash, and they were on the ground floor, and I think they're like at like 70,000 subscribers now or something. But like, from what they started doing to what they're doing now is so wholly different, because again, being at the ground floor, you see, oh, hey, this is a great way to do a Falco combo, or this is a great confirm for Terry or whatever. And like, those kinds of things only go so far, especially because like, you can't really evergreen a DLC character coming out, right? The strategy that has is only like short bursts at a time for growth, and that's really about it. As opposed to like the way you're doing it now, where it's like, hey, this is how I'm starting. This is where I have my vision, and this is how I can execute it in a way that is like not reliant on tentpole events from actually happening. Right? It is a very meticulous start to start. And where I'm kind of going with this is like, when you planned these portions of the series, how much of it was super planned in advance? How much of it had to be freestyled? And where did you see, and how much of the expectation did you have for some of these extremely thought out roadmaps, like, churn out to the way that you want it to?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd say that the main things that were planned out about the series was the titling, character crisis, self-explanatory. What's great about the title is if you search up character crisis on YouTube, a lot of my stuff pops up now, even if you just type the words character crisis, because the term was not being targeted by other channels. Like, it's an SEO term, search engine optimization. Like, everyone was talking about MKLeo's character crisis at the time, but nobody was making content about character crises. So I knew that just by simply dominating the niche of character crisis, anytime anybody Googles character crisis in the future, I pop up now. The other thing I did was the visual style of the thumbnails. I wanted them to be like semi-minimalist, but still pieces of art, still a lot of effort put into them. Frankly, I just finished my Pyra and Mithra thumbnail video coming out Tuesday. And God, those characters are Xenoblade characters are already hard enough to draw, and then I had to draw 2 of them.
And you had to minimalize them on top of that.
Yeah, I can't wait. My next thumbnail's Kirby. It is literally just going to be into the background and having their main color be the background. And so like I had that idea from the start. And then the way I structured my scripts at the start were structured like articles. I just like, had a heading, and I was like, here's the backstory of the character. Here's what it's like when I play the character. Here's my combo video for when that I make for the character. Because like I grew up in 2016 Melee when combo videos were all the rage. And let me tell you, the YouTube meta is very different now, and none of my combo videos do well. So, yeah, different time, but like, hey, I still like combo videos, so I'm still gonna make them.
Hell yeah.
Unless you're like putting the level of flair and effort that like Danish Butter Cookie is in his combo videos, or if they're just dumb jokes the entire time, your combo videos aren't going to do well. I'm sorry.
Unless it's a Twitter clip, it ain't going to do well.
But I hate, you know what? Or you are just hitting really nasty clips. And when I'm playing a character for a week at most, I'm not getting that necessarily.
Not too many sick clips that are happening on the regular. What? Who could have seen that one coming?
Yeah. And so my strategy for my first month of YouTube was also kind of interesting because, my branding is only on Tuesdays. So I wanted to upload as many times as I could within the first month to say that I'm here, I'm doing this character crisis, come watch my content. And so for like the first month and a half, I think I was able to get 4 videos done. It was too much work, honestly.
Yeah.
But I knew how important it was for me to come out the gate swinging.
Mhm.
And so I titled all of those videos the same way at first. I mained X character for a week. That my Mario video still has that titled. I mained Mario for a week, and I've gone back and changed some of the titles now to like try to make them more appealing. But for that first month, it was very intentional that I titled them all the exact same way, so that way people could be like, okay, so there's this person here playing a different character, trying out new things. And the way I'd choose characters at the beginning was I would just do like a Twitter poll. Now it's a Patreon thing. So, hey, subscribe to my
Hey,
Patreon.
subscribe to Patreon. Send me the link so I can put it in the description as well.
Hell yeah. But yeah, no, like, and that was actually also something I learned from doing my written articles from years ago. When I was just doing my written articles for fun, somebody in my comments section asked me, "Do you have a Patreon?" And I had never thought about doing a Patreon at the time because I was just doing it for fun. And so I was like, I guess I can make one. And then I made one, and the only people who subscribed were my friends because I wasn't offering anything that people wanted on my Patreon. And so I did not announce that I had a Patreon until like my Shulk video, which was like 9 months after I had been working on YouTube. And I would have preferred to wait to announce a Patreon until I got to like 10,000 subscribers or something like that. Because I feel like when you first announce the Patreon, that's when you're going to get the most users to join. And so I wanted to wait until I actually had a decent following. But this was during the period of time that I was trying to work part-time YouTube, part-time fast food job. And it did not pay the bills.
No, I bet not.
Yeah, don't do what I did. It was not smart. But so I had a lot of like strategies about how I was going to approach YouTube, but I did have to improvise some things. Editing takes a long time, and so my original idea was that I would main a character for 1 week, 7 days. That's it. But then editing started taking longer, and videos started playing so many characters that I'd get like super far ahead. Like, let's see, I'm playing Wii Fit right now, which means I have Wii Fit, Corrin, Kirby, and Aegis videos to all make still.
Yeah.
Pyramith will come out this week at least, so we can check one of them.
Check one off of that list. Provided I actually edit
the video tomorrow.
Yeah.
But so like I had to change it from like I'd main them for a week to I'd more realistically main them for like a month. But then I just say in the video that I did it for a week because functionally I'm still maining them for like 7 days. I try to stream a character for 7 days. And streaming was also something I didn't start off doing. It wasn't until like 6 months into YouTube that I started streaming. But I have a background from streaming from Magic the Gathering because I would just stream me playing Magic the Gathering. And my streams were always filled with me making mistakes in Magic. I was never a great Magic player. I just like making new decks and having fun with them. But I had already had experience with like using OBS and that sort of thing. So, and the funny thing is I had an Elgato that was like as old as Smash Ultimate because I bought the Elgato when Smash Ultimate came out because in my mind I was like, I want to make content for Smash. And then I didn't make content until 6 years later. So like, hey, I got around to it.
The original HDS, right? Or I think it was called the original HDS.
Yeah, it's one of the older models.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of selling it during COVID because it was just a expensive block of plastic that I wasn't doing anything with. I'm glad I didn't sell it. But like I've always wanted to like make content for Smash, and it was just very much finding the way to say it. And once I got the words character crisis, like everything else kind of just fell into place.
So, yeah, I mean, it's always like interesting to like hear the process from different people because like if you like try to look up, oh, how do I do these certain things and what are advice for like this, that, and the other, it always ends up being, have you done it yet? Like you can plan a lot, but like if you're not doing it, it's not actually happening, right?
Yeah,
And
like
yeah.
My Mario video, it is rough around the edges, but at the end of the day, there's heart and soul in that video, and like I can be happy with the product that it is, given the skill I had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've gotten to the point where I think my videos have become really polished to the point where they take like 2 months to make now. It's awesome. But like I want to create good videos, because whenever I make a video about a character for Character Crisis, I want it to be like good evergreen content that is, represents the character well. Because the idea of this series is that I love all the characters in Smash, and even if they're Min Min and Steve, I am still going to give them a fair shot. Right?
True. Listen, all characters are great if you're what's the old adage in Melee? A skilled Roy can take on a high level fox.
Any fox.
Any fox.
Well, I play Mewtwo in Melee, so I believe that 100%. Actually,
I see the stream notification every time. It's like time to play some Melee Mewtwo. It's like Melee Mewtwo Monday. I think it's usually what it is, right?
Yeah, I've kind of cut back on streaming a little bit because real life got more expensive for me recently, because I actually became a homeowner somehow.
What? In this economy?
Look, yeah, with the kind of money I'm making from YouTube, I should not be in this house. I am incredibly lucky. My parents work in real estate, and they were trying to sell this house, and it has great curb appeal. It's a very cute house, but the inside was just super outdated. House was built in like the 40s, and the kitchen had not been updated since then. And like
brutal.
So, but what happened was, the day I moved into the house, my parents told me, we can get you into this house without a down payment if you can get the house ready for roommates in the future. And like that's the only way I can afford a mortgage right now, I'll be honest. But for 3 months I lived in this house, did YouTube work as my main job, which is to say it did not make me very much money. And I was using a credit card to pay for everything, because what I was doing is I was living here full time doing physical labor on the house. The day I moved in, we knocked down a wall in the kitchen and took all the old appliances out. And so I was living here with a air fryer and a rice cooker.
The
I got creative.
The things we gotta do, man.
I made some interesting meals. I got food poisoning once. Do not eat a burrito that was not refrigerated. It was bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But like if really bad food poisoning and a lot of physical labor is enough to get me to have a house, I'll take it.
Oh, that's funny. Oh yeah.
But like for like a solid 3 months, I was like taking carpet out of the house. I was ripping staples out of the floor, sanding it, staining it, painting the walls. We reassembled the kitchen. I got a lot of help from my family. Because like personally, I do not know how to do most of this stuff. But as long as my dad was there, I was able to ask him questions and do the work. And and what's funny is the clothes that I painted this house in are actually the same clothes that I go to do my door-to-door sales job for the painting company. And then it's funny because everyone asks me questions like I'm one of the professional painters, and I have to be like, look, man, I just dress in the part. I've even started carrying around a paintbrush. It's great.
It's like a great costume that like it gets people in. It's like how in was that movie Catch Me If You Can? The only reason he got on those flights because he dressed the part and had enough confidence in it.
Hey, you carry a clipboard and look important, and you can go anywhere.
It reminds me of this graffiti documentary I had watched. I don't even know how long ago. Is one of the guys admitted like all he does is like dress like he's security and wears the reflective vest and carries a clipboard, and that's how like he enters into places. And whenever he's looking at stuff, people will see him and say, "Hey, how's it going?" Then he from the jacket and puts a throw up on there, and he'd be like, "Well, now I gotta report this," and he fakes writing it down on a clipboard.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that.
So
I'm a big fan of graffiti, so like I think he's doing good work out there.
So pro tip, if you ever want to do that, just dress like you're security and wear like a reflective vest, and no one's gonna question you.
Yeah. If anything, they're gonna come up to you and tell you something important, and you're gonna be like, "Wait, I'm not qualified to deal with this."
I was like, yeah, let me write that down and give me your number, and then we'll get this situated. Just disappear after that.
Exactly. Yeah. But I never stopped working on content. Like, I had to find real jobs, to pay the bills and whatnot. I did live with my parents for a period of time, which helped me like focus on YouTube and have that be a thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like every weekend I'll just like edit a video or whatever. I'll stream. It's my hobby, but it's a hobby that I'm still treating like a job. So that way, because when Smash 6 does eventually come out, and it will come out eventually,
it will.
Whether it's Smash Ultimate Deluxe or something different. I am right now. What I know I need to do is I need to get better at making content while we're in a content drought. So that way, when the next game comes out, I am already at my A game. I already have a back catalog that people can look at, and I can come out of the gate swinging and make Smash 6 I'm going to use the hype around the next Smash game to hopefully propel my YouTube channel into full time.
Again, it's like
in the meantime, it's just a matter of just you got to put your nose to the grind wheel and just get to work.
It's like you're saying, like with Meta Smash, that one YouTube channel. It's like the tent poles, right? The tent poles will eventually catapult you. Like you have this like huge advantage, like you're saying, of taking advantage of like the lower end of like not lower end, the drought. That's a better way. That way you just said it, of where we are in understanding the content sphere of Smash Brothers. It's not like how there is in fighting games, where especially right now, if you are into all of the fighting games, you are living in like a golden age renaissance where we had Mortal Kombat a little while ago, we have Street Fighter, we have Tekken, we have Fatal Fury out right now. Fan.
I love Yoshimitsu.
I play King, so I play the scrub killer. I hate I haven't played the season 2 yet, but like my number one scrub killer option, the alley kick down forward 3, like got nerfed, so like it starts becoming minus instead of being plus into itself, which kind of sucks, but that's whatever. It's the reason it's the scrub killer in the first place, right? So you have Tekken, you have that, you have like a little bit of a renaissance with Dragon Ball Fighters every now and then. You have Guilty Gear, which is always coming up over and over again. The other anime fighters in the sphere. So like there's always somewhere to move to. There's always something to grab onto. But like in Smash Brothers in general, like we get to peaks at plateaus, and there's that subtle drop where like it's still as popular as it is amongst the competitive crowds, but like that general appeal isn't isn't capturing people like it did before. And like you said, you're taking this as an advantage to create your craft while still having and creating presence around it. So when that tentpole hits, all you got to do is go viral 1 or 2 times, and there's your new baseline reached, while having, you know, like, what was your plateau become your new baseline or your new floor. Yeah. Right. So if anything, this is the best time to have been to get to the point that you're at.
Yeah, no, like, if I had instead waited to start Character Crisis when Smash 6 comes out, my first video probably would be bad because I didn't practice making better videos. And so by taking this time when, you know, there's not a lot of eyes on Smash, if I post a video that does bad and only 1,000 people see it, which, I mean, I'd still say, like, getting 1,000 people to watch my video is still very flattering, but I mean, let's be real, that is a poorly performing video. It's okay though, because it's just like, you know what, whatever, game's dead, I'm just doing this as a hobby for fun. But yeah, I'm getting better. I can look at that video. Why did it do bad? Okay, let's work on the title next time. Maybe I can change up the thumbnail some more. And just, you know, I heard Mr. Beast say this when I was going through like a phase of like looking up every single tip on how to do good on YouTube. Because that's like, I mean, I did that with Dungeons and Dragons, going to the 3rd page of Google. I do it with whatever I'm trying to get good at.
True.
And I heard Mr. Beast once say that every time you upload a video, ask yourself, what's one thing I could have done better? And you just do that, and it's an iterative process. You start off with a video that is just you recording from your iPhone or whatever. Then you add a thumbnail to it. You know what? Let's actually edit a thumbnail for this. Next time, you know what? I'm going to actually edit the video. We're going to add some cuts here and there. Oh, I saw someone do this in their video that I thought was cool. I'm going to add it to mine. And you just slowly add these skills one piece at a time until eventually your videos start looking like Mr. Beast. But they did not start off that way. But it's very important that you keep this mentality of improving after every single video so you don't get stagnant.
True. I mean, again, like, seeing where we are with, you know, the content sphere of like who's still making, you know, an in-depth video of anything, has like all the big tentpole names have kind of disappeared. You know, the main sources we go to are kind of gone. So eventually someone has to come in and take up the new mantle, right? And if you are working from a place of passion while creating all of this, you're able to see that. Like, people are going to see that. Like, there was just the video that I just saw from about the history of Kagaribi.
Yeah, I was watching that too. Like,
I literally just finished watching that earlier today, right? That is a brand new YouTube channel. It was 500 subscribers when I downloaded the video to watch later. By the time I was done watching it, 1.1 thousand subscribers already. Like, that kind of stuff only happens if there is genuine practice, genuine passion, and genuine strategy to build the narratives, to create the platforms. Again, a lot like what you were doing. Like, I have a specific vision with specific terms. Like, you probably watched a handful of Devin Nash videos on just like content creation because of like, it needs to be like hard syllables, like one, dun, 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 or like very, very specific, like character crisis. It hits the mouth just the right way.
I love alliteration. What can I say?
It's 3 syllables. You don't want to go higher than that. Like, counter logic gating doesn't count. Well, it is if you go CLG, Panda Global. Like, VGBC, like all those things hit a certain way, right? Where in some of those instances may not have been as intentional, but the intentionality in which you're working on it, like, definitely puts you in a place where you can, once it actually hits, it will hit, and it, like I said earlier, it creates a baseline that used to be your peak or your plateau. And being able to get in that practice now before the blow up is going to be, hey man, I was there when it was like 5,000 subscribers. Where y'all been?
Yep. Hey, I've been with my channel since it was 0.
There you go. Just as impressive. So along the lines of the content and like the strategy, within the first 3 months, you got your 1,000 subscribers. Was there like, what was like the first handful of videos like, and like at what point in that first 3 months did you see that, like, okay, these things came to fruition? Did you start seeing it right away, or like did you realize did you realize that, okay, at this point I'm looking back now and I'm like, okay, this is 1,000, and this particular piece of content, whether it be a video or whatever it happens to be, this was actually broke it. So what was that, and did you kind of see it was going to be a particular piece, given that, like, again, within 3 months you were able to get to that 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah, so my first few videos was like, I made Mario for a week, I made DK for a week, I made Kazuya for a week, whatever. And it wasn't until I mained Incineroar that that might have been my first video I changed the title on. But basically what I did is I copied False Swipe Gaming's titles for their videos. They're a Pokemon YouTube channel for competitive Pokemon. And the way they title their videos is, how good was X Pokemon actually throughout the history of the game? And so what I did was I just copied their title. How good is Incineroar in Smash? Something like that. And with that video, that was the first one where I was like, you know what? I'll put $100 into advertising. We'll see what happens. And I remember just getting a bunch of comments from people being like, why was this an ad? And like, I was just telling them, like, because I was curious, whatever. But then it was my next video after that one where I didn't do advertising for it. But it was my first 10,000 view video. And it was my Roy and Chrom video, and it was titled, is Roy better than Chrom? Parentheses. I don't think so. And what happened was, for that video, I started off playing as Chrom, and you know, I've heard the stories of Chrom. He's so much worse than Roy, bottom tier character, whatever. And so I started with Chrom because, you know, his sword is easier to use than Roy's. And I found out that I actually really like Chrom. He's a very fun character. He's very strong in a lot of ways. Very good grounded game. Very good neutral. And so I was just like, okay, Chrom surprised me. I almost took a set off of a PR player with Chrom, or games rather. Like, that surprised me. Okay, well, if I liked Chrom this much, Roy is just going to be that much better. And then he was, but he wasn't. It was trade-offs. Like, yeah, your recovery is better, marginally. It's not that much better. And yeah, your sweet spots are stupid. Like, double-edged dance is a war crime. But other aspects of the character were worse. Like, I would try to get jab into back air with Roy, and it was far less consistent because sometimes you get sour spot jab or sour spot back air. Whereas with Chrom, it's just like, I don't care, you're dead. And so hitting a tipper F smash with Chrom is very safe on shield. Nobody's punishing that. But you don't get tipper F smash with Roy. And so it was in that video where I had a opinion about a character that went against the grain. And I only got that opinion from playing the character. I had to change my own opinions on the character afterwards. So I published a video with a kind of scandalous title saying that Roy and Crom are actually much closer to each other than you think. And yeah, it was my first video to get 10,000 views. And then like a couple months later, my next video to get 10,000 views was fortunately my Marth video, because I got a video where I just titled it "Marth is good now," because I believe that.
Yeah, it's funny how like simple that one is. Like, Marth is good now, everybody. Yeah. That's all it took. At least on that one. Dang. So your Crom Roy was your first 10K video, 10K view video. Was at that point, was that the video then that came out at your like 1,000 subscriber, or which one was it?
I'd say that it was closer to when I got to like my Olimar video, which was in between Incineroar and Marth.
Okay.
And so like it was like in between that period that I think I passed 1,000.
Okay. So what was your first monetized, like your first monetized video? Like I'm uploading it and I know this is going to be a monetized video. So which one was that the one then?
I think it was my Ridley video. So order events was I played Marth in like June. Then I played Mii Brawler in July, and then Ridley came out in August. And it was by the time in August that I was actually monetized. And that was also my second best performing video on my channel. You know, that first month that I was monetized, I hit the $100 threshold to like get paid out, and I was like, oh, I can do this.
Oh yeah.
And then
that serotonin hit was probably crazy.
Yeah, and so what happened was this was actually when I started streaming, was with Meta Knight. So I went from Ridley to Meta Knight, and then for my Meta Knight video, I included stream clips. I included me actually playing the character. I knew that streaming was going to eventually become an important part of the series. I just didn't have the setup for it at the time, at the start. And my early setup is still pretty scuffed. But like with my Meta Knight video, that was when I started adding my face to the videos and started adding, you know, more of my personality in that way. But what happened was with my Ridley video, by the time I made my Ridley video, I had mastered making a faceless YouTube video that talked about these characters. And then Meta Knight, which my Meta Knight video still did pretty well, again, because I had a good title for it. Meta Knight should be top tier. Why isn't he? And like, so that one did pretty well as well. But then my next few videos after that all did pretty poorly. And I think a large reason for that is because I had to like relearn my video making process, because now I had to include these clips of me playing on stream. And like, I still believe that the stream is like a very important part of the ecosystem of my channel, because it's where people can interact with me. It's where my patrons usually hang out. So like whenever I do a stream, it feels like I'm rewarding my patrons with content. And also people really love it when I clip them with my character and then put them in my video.
Yeah.
Like I have Zero to Death many people many times, and they're like, hooray!
I'm gonna be in the video now.
Yeah. So like, but I had to learn how to balance the content with the you know, the clips. And what's interesting is actually a few months before I started my YouTube channel, I actually reached out to some people about writing Smash Bros content for them. And this actually ended up getting me in the DMs of Turn Down for Walt before he made his Ultimate channel. And I turned him down because I was working on my content.
You had to turn down on Walt.
Yes, I have turned down Walt. But also, I look back at the kind of videos I was making around the time that I said no to writing for Turned On for Walt, and Jackie Peanuts ended up getting that job, and I think he does wonderful work. But I was writing articles, not scripts. I was writing them in the context of the way I knew how to write them, which was for a website or for a Reddit post, and that was how I formatted them. And so I feel like if I had gotten that job with Turned Down for Walt, I don't think I would have done as good of a job because I didn't understand the YouTube ecosystem yet. One of the biggest lessons I've learned as a content creator is you have to treat every single platform very differently. You can take a piece of content that you make and repurpose it, but it has to be repurposed. What does well on Twitter is not going to do well on Reddit, is not going to do well on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. And so each piece has to be optimized. And I hadn't quite figured out how to optimize for YouTube until like a year after doing my own YouTube channel. So like, hey, Walt, if you still want me to write articles, I'm still open. Like that DM is still open.
It's still there. It's still there.
But at the time, I think it was the right thing for me to focus on my channel, and because that was a safe place for me to make mistakes.
Yeah, the least it's like this thing I was watching. I was watching Wine About It with Maya and Cutie Cinderella. They had on Jaden Animations, and the way she got her start, like with animating, and in her experience with sending that over and creating her drawings, sending over the fan art, and then learning the animation as she's doing it. But because she established that practice right away, when she starts the YouTube channel, she has a bunch of people already subscribed because they linked it in the description. But all that only worked because the some practice already happened. If you didn't have that like turn right away to like with doing what you're doing with this channel, like you were saying too, like knowing how to write for the specific medium and for the specific, not even just the medium, but like the platform itself, and not knowing how to translate that job with Walt could have blacklisted you probably going forward. Yeah. So yeah, this is like the best. So not only is best practice for when Smash 6 comes out, it's going to be great practice for when an org eventually needs to get more writers. And now you have your resume, you have your personal resume, a writing resume. You got all this to point to.
Yeah. I mean, I've been able to like really actually build up a resume now, and that's really cool. And when the next Smash game comes out, if like Team Liquid or something is looking, I would love to have TL TuesdayTastic.
TL TuesdayTastic. Oh, see how that rolls. See how that rolls just right. It's like, yo, H-Box.
Exactly. I did have an opportunity to write Turn Down for Walt's Collision 2023 video. But that was when I was working on my Incineroar video or whatever. And so, and like, I was also still working a full-time job at that point in my life. So I realized that like, I wanted to focus on my channel, not someone else's channel, which is more of a risk. Like, we look at Walt now, he's very successful. He's doing great. But I'm going to be honest. Did you know the name Jackie Peanuts before I said it?
Yeah, actually, because
okay.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Bobby Wasabi, who worked with PG. Jackie Peanuts.
Different person, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Bobby Wasabi, who I believe is also the only who was only the only other like villager main that did anything, at least in that early part. But yes, Jackie Peanuts I was aware of at least a little bit, even if I just confused it for someone else.
People are aware of him if you're like really tuned into the scene. Yeah, if you're really tuned into the scene, you may know Jackie Peanuts. But and like I think I'm glad he got the job. I think he has done better work than I would have done had I gotten the job.
Mm-hmm.
But I have now positioned myself by working on my own YouTube channel, by taking on that risk of, you know, my YouTube channel could fail and not do as well as Turn Down for Waltz. But the potential reward is that I'm the face. People know TuesdayTastic now. Like my channel, as of December of this year, passed 1 million views.
Hell yeah.
I didn't think I would get that, let alone in less than 2 years. Shorts are broken. But like, had I taken that opportunity to write for Turn Down for Walt, it would have led to amazing opportunities. Like I know Jackie Peanuts has done videos for like Pokemon challenges. I think he's done scripts for Alpharad. He works for Turn Down for Walt. Like he gets to work with all of these incredible creators and gets amazing connections through that lens. But you know, I want to take on more of the risk for the potential to have more reward.
The other thing too
I
is
also
like,
don't think anyone else can do what I'm doing, and so I got to do it.
I think the other thing too is like you are building it for yourself. In that, like, this is how you develop the style of what is a TuesdayTastic script? What is a TuesdayTastic video? What are TuesdayTastic editing points? What are these styles and the stylization? If you do this and you have a distinct style, like you're able to take that and move it along to the different areas when you are ready, honing your craft. This is a honing in period, right? There's like this
that's exactly the way I'm treating this time is
so there's also this like it's a criticism sort of the Cal Arts style of like drawing and animation. It's like, yes, you know how to draw, yes, you know how to animate. The problem is it is too specific to a certain school of thought, and there was no developing of your own style, your own sense, your own self, your own skill set. And doing the channel, like whether it was intentional or not, you are doing this for yourself, and you are now honing your own style, your own skill set, and so on and so forth. So when the choice to work on, you know, a partnered video, a partnered script, or whatever, you can see, oh, these beats, they are similar to a Tuesday video. These beats, these writing points to create an edit are also in the video, right? You know, stuff like that. Like, did you think that was going to be, or was that intentional, or is this kind of like, do you think it's kind of a byproduct of focusing on your channel before trying to move on, like, and try to get in these kinds of additional opportunities?
It was definitely just a byproduct, right? Like I just started off by making a video to the best of my ability, which, you know, fortunately I had a lot of previous skills from writing for so long that helped me in a lot of ways. But a lot of it was just, you know, learning from scratch and learning the things that I felt like would help me make a better YouTube video. And you know, I do agree with you though that by doing that, it's made me a more well-rounded content creator. I'm not just a writer. I am a video producer. I can create thumbnails. I can create social media posts. I can, you know, I run a full marketing team by myself, and that's actually bled into my personal life or my professional life now, because like when I first got this job as a door-to-door salesman for a small painting company, less than 10 people, I was able to take a lot of the strengths I gained from my YouTube channel, like in having a personality, in like talking with people, and coming across as friendly and approachable. I was able to take the skills I gained from that to do well at the door-to-door job. And my boss knows about my YouTube channel. He asks me questions about it sometimes. He's a good boss. But what's happened is I was asked. The reason I told him about my YouTube channel is because I knew that if he let me handle the marketing side of the painting company, that I could probably do, good work and help them out.
Mm-hmm.
And within the past month and a half, I have been promoted from a part-time door-to-door salesman to I still do that because it's effective and gets us leads.
Mm-hmm.
To now I run the social media. I create blog posts for the website. I have done video editing, like the social media posts. I like go to where our painters are working,
Mm-hmm.
film them, come back home, and then edit it together into a social media post. Like,
that's crazy.
It is now a part of my professional life, and I'm actually getting paid well for the first time. Like, I love YouTube, but they do not pay their creators. They have a monopoly, and they know it.
It's kind of funny how that happened, right? This thing where it's like my journey as a content creator is literally getting me paid on my regular job now.
Yeah. I mean, well, you just take the skills that you gain in life, and you want to put yourself in a position where your skills are being used for what they're worth. And when I was working that job as a SWIP writer, I did not feel like I was taking advantage of my degree. I asked them when I was working at that job, "Hey, let me do blog posts for you guys. I know how to do this. I know how to do like social media and stuff. Let me have it."
Mm-hmm.
And that job didn't let me. And so like where I felt like I was actually, good, like the place where I had developed my skills as a hobby that could benefit a professional setting, that first job was not taking advantage of it. And so I felt like my degree was useless. But now, even though all of this stuff I was doing was just a hobby for the longest time, it's all bled together into something that I can now transform into my career.
It's funny how that transition happened, right? The character crisis leads to, well, now my normal bills are being paid at my regular job. That's definitely that's another plot twist that a lot of people didn't think about.
Hey, when you get a mortgage, you figure out new ways to pay the bills, and YouTube was not the way.
The skills of YouTube was what actually got you better pay, I'm assuming, with being able to do the social media marketing and all that jazz. It's funny because now,
I mean, it's nice to get paid an hourly rate. What can I say?
I think it's funny because like if you ever get like Adobe Creative Cloud, that monthly payment can be claimed on like your 1090. You can either choose on your 1099 from YouTube or from your W2 from your normal job, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, no, it is nice having a YouTube channel that I can use for tax write-offs. I'm spending way more on the channel traveling to all these different majors than I'm making from the YouTube channel. But it's nice to say that my Genesis trip was a tax write-off.
Hey, there you go. Trip to Genesis, a tax write-off. You know what you should start doing too is like, actually, it was funny. I was telling one of my coworkers this, like, he didn't realize the amount of things that he can use as his tax write-offs, like his cell phone bill, the fact that he has his iPad with a data plan on his because he sells like collectibles at like night markets and stuff. He didn't realize that like, I would ask, hey, what's your point of sale system? And he's like, oh, I use Square, but I do it on the iPad. It's like, you can like put that like data plan as your tax write-off. He goes, what, really? He goes, yeah, man. Did you pay for a new banner? Boom, tax write-off. Do you pay for CapCut? It's like, yeah, I do. I play the monthly on the CapCut. Boom, there you go. Now you got more tax write-off. So what I'm thinking, let's try to do some.
I didn't.
Let's
Buying controllers is a tax write-off. You got all the travel expenses. When I go to a local, my locals are a tax write-off. The food I buy at locals is a tax write-off. The rule with a tax write-off is, you're still spending more money than you're making.
Yeah.
If I choose not buy the burger at the local, I am saving money. But it's a lot easier to be like, it's fine, I can spend the money. You can tell yourself it's a tax write-off later.
I can imagine right now, as I'm turning this to a short, it's just going to be David from Schitt's Creek. It's just tax write-off. It's like, where you send it to? The write-off people. Oh, good old Schitt's Creek. I think the other thing too is, so I did this thing a while where I went to a local of mine, and are you familiar with the folks from Graham, the digital controllers? Are you familiar with them at all?
Yeah.
I actually, this is one of them right here. I got my
I like the controllers. I think I'd like to get one of these days, truthfully.
I highly recommend. I took my nanogram.
Yeah. A secret about me that people don't know yet, because I haven't revealed it yet, is I've started messing around with Box recently off stream. Specifically, I've been playing Box Daisy again.
Ooh,
so I've kind of been relapsing on my character crisis. And we'll see if it goes anywhere, but I'm having fun. My main controller right now is this, which is a Pro GCC. It's from Handheld Legends, which, they actually sent me this controller. It's a sponsored product.
I actually have mine right here. My brother got me the conversion kit for Christmas last year, so I have a Pro GCC up there as well. I just need to find like a new shell, because like no gates, a non-gated controller really messes me up.
Yeah. No, it's been so nice. So like when I first started playing Smash 4, I'd play GameCube controller on the Wii U, right? But playing so when Smash Ultimate came out, I decided to switch to Pro controller from GameCube. And I like the Pro controller a lot. It feels better in my hands. Doesn't hurt my hands. That's a big thing. And the button layout makes more sense to me. But Pro controllers are so finicky at turn. Importantly for me is I was going to Supernova, and this was about a year and a half into my character crisis journey. I knew that when I got to Fox eventually, that I wanted to play Fox in every single Smash game, because Fox is considered the best Smash character of all time. So I wanted to play him in every single Smash game. And I knew that Supernova was the right tournament to do that, because no other tournament has all 5 Smash games there. This as a review product. And this was my first time getting a product, I guess. Well, no, I also got sponsored by JB5. I'm trying to remember the timeline of what was first. I think JB5 was first.
Ooh.
They're a clothing company. Also, they make great stuff too. Check them out.
Hell yeah.
I think their current merch is Kirby inspired or Pikachu inspired. Anyways,
I think they did Axes.
If Raid Shadow Legends had hit my inbox, I would have snapped that up. I can't say that I would have said no.
Hell yeah.
But what's actually happened is the brands that I have actually sponsored on my channel are brands that are within the Smash Bros niche. They are it's a video game controller company. It's a video game inspired clothing company. And I've been able to be an ambassador for brands that I would actually purchase, that I would actually be a part of. And as I've started doing this like real life job of, advertising local painters, I've realized that for me, it matters a lot for me to care about the product that I'm advertising. Because if I was doing this door to door job for a pest control company or a solar company that was just big and soulless, I wouldn't like it. I would feel bad knocking on people's doors, asking them if they need pest control or if they need solar financing or whatever. But instead, I am advertising for like 6 guys who just paint, and like I know that I've seen their work. I've seen them in action. I think they're great painters. I really believe in the work they do. And like, it's a small company. Like I can just be like, yeah, we're local. We're less than 10 people. Like if you don't hire us, like sure, you don't need to, but if you want to help out your local community, we're the guys to call.
Certainly.
So, I've learned that in order for me to like really market something, I have to believe in it.
I think the other thing too is like, this is like something that like some people I guess don't really think about when it comes to like once you start building an audience, when you present the fact that like, hey, I believe in this product and they actually also believe in me, the fact that like it's one of those, I wouldn't want to take on a sponsorship or a partnership with someone that I don't believe in. And and like you've seen people like that like taking a sponsorship like on YouTube videos of like they really needed money. They really needed that income because I ain't going to be getting a NordVPN sponsorship because I know they also sponsor the Daily Wire. Forget that noise. Yeah. I'm not gonna associate with the same kind of product when you got Ben Shapiro also saying things the way that he does, and like, no, we got the same sponsorship. Hell no. Forget that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, understanding that, like, I guess it's like another one of those things of like making the conscious effort when you are in this, again, the Smash ecosystem of like content creation, like taking on those partnerships with people that like would be interested in those same types of things. Yeah, maybe a handful of people would do Raid Shadow Legends, but like you're not really going to be doing an Adam and Eve like partnership. If like you're trying to understand the character crisis.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
Like and now that I'm in a point where like, my professional job is making me full-time income now. And I'm doing pretty good for it. Like I do feel like that I've done a good job at advertising this company. And the pay reflects that because it's partially commission based. But like now that I'm no longer in a position where it's like, yeah, I need money. I feel a lot better in being able to turn down the the bad sponsors. Not to say that they've approached me. They haven't. But there was a period of time where I would have happily said yes and compromised the integrity of my channel. And now I'm in a position where I can be a little more choosy about it because you know what? The creative vision to my videos does matter. And I don't want to put an ad read in there unless, it's for something that I believe in. And the story behind the Pro GCC was actually really interesting for me because the first Pro GCC that they sent me broke pretty quickly. Like I was able to use it for Supernova and it worked good while I was at Supernova. I had no issues there. But over the course of the next few months, one of the sticks was like it was just getting stuck. Like I would let go of the stick and it wouldn't return back to neutral.
Ooh.
And it was making it impossible to play because I would like try to move around and the stick would just feel awful to play on. And I had like multiple back and forths with Handheld Legend, like telling them about the issues with my controller. I sent it to get that repaired twice on 2 different occasions, and it came back the first time it came back, it was okay for a week, and then it broke again. And then the second time it came back, I pulled it out of the box, and the stick was still stuck in the position that I had sent it to get it fixed in.
That's crazy.
And so, like, at first, I was going to be working on I was making my Fox video, and I was a little nervous about, like, you know, advertising this product that I had issues with. Like, when the controller worked, it's the best controller I've ever played on. But I don't want to say when it works and then tell people to go buy it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what changed my mind on Handheld Legends and, like, why I'm a happy sponsor for them now is because, like, through my conversations with them, through my, you know, working with their customer support and everything, you know, they recognized that there was a serious issue with the controller, and they did everything they could to fix the controller. There was effort, there was, you know, communication, there was, I could tell that they were trying. And so when I made my Fox video, I decided, you know what? I think the company has integrity. I don't think that they meant to send me a controller that would break so quickly.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna, you know, be a brand ambassador for them, and, you know, give them this review, and give them a good review. Not just because not just because they gave me a controller, and because, you know, there is a financial incentive to tell people to use my affiliate code Tuesday at checkout.
I was hoping you were going to do it, and you did. Hooray! You did the thing.
Yes, I did. Hey, look, when you become a door-to-door salesman, you will just go up to any random person on the street and be like, "Hey, do you need painting?"
Real quick,
I'm respectful about it. I'm a respectful shill.
Real quick, sidebar: do you have a dedicated link? Again, yes. I'll throw that into the description a little bit later. Don't forget to send that to me. I'll throw that in the description for later.
Yeah, I got you. But, like, I ultimately decided to say that Handheld Legends, like, I explained it. So what I did is I actually used my blog again, because I've stopped posting on my blog because all the focus is on the YouTube channel now. But I used my blog to host this article where I gave him a more in-depth review of the controller. And, you know, I talked about my issues with it. I talked about the fact that that I had problems, but ultimately the customer support convinced me, like, through my interactions with the customer support, it convinced me that they're a good company. And ultimately what happened, it was after I made my Fox video, I told them about my controller, how it was broken again. And they were like, you know what, send it to us. We're just going to send you a new controller. And I've had this one for 6 months and no issues.
Awesome. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
We love to see that, like, more and more, or consistently, I should say, companies within the Smash community understand, like, we have, like, such a small and very insular community, right? That, like, reputation is very important in understanding, like, the people that they serve is very important, right? Like, that's why I will always shill Graham. I'll always shout them out. That's why I wanted to do the videos at that local with the Nanogram, because I thought that would be a great concept, and also the folks at Graham are awesome. That's why, like, once I get a chance to order the boards, I'm going to be selling DIY Graham kits with my 3D printer, right? And they're great people, but ultimately, again, it's like creating that goodwill and, like, seeing that they stand behind not only their product, but they stand behind servicing the people that are supporting them, right? You could be like this major conglomerate and, like, just let it all happen and just be like, whatever, you know, sucks to suck, you're out of warranty. Or you could be just like the folks at Handheld and be like, no, this person spent their hard-earned money. We want to get their stuff resolved. You know, another great, like, company, at least that I've experienced that with, where I don't have direct experience, my brother actually, is with Granola. This right here is my big Summit. Thank you again, Granola, Mike from Granola Arcade. My brother got one. He got himself a big summit just from our conversation from it, and that's kind of what pushed him over to the edge to get it. When there was an issue that he had, he responded right away. He's like, "Hey, man, this is usually the quick fix." It did, and he's like, "All right, cool." And the little thing that got him to make him think like, "Yo, Granola is probably one of the best companies out there." He remembered that that he was my brother. So the guy from Granola remembered that that's my brother. He's like, "Oh yeah, tell your brother hi and I hope he's doing great." Like those kinds of relationships that we build are extremely important. And like,
yeah,
now having like this digital platform, again, to kind of loop it back to like the YouTube channel, like these kinds of things are excellent, not only in your channel to like say, "Hey, I'm able to look at products and give a legitimate analysis on it and give like an actual critique," but it also allows you to like boost these other smaller creators, smaller companies to like say, "Hey, if I believe in your product, I'm going to stand behind it." And I'm able to look at those people and create this rising tide effect, because 2 years, 3 years down the road, when Smash 6 comes out and you're at like 80,000 subscribers, you know, you have your channel's grown 10x, and they're like, "Hey, what kind of controller do you use?" "Hey, I still have this Pro GCC from Handheld," right? And yeah, you created those relationships in that regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and like that was like one of the things I was conflicted on when they sent me this controller that was faulty at first. Was, you know, I wanted to give them an honest review, but I didn't want to damage my relationship with the company, or like, I mean, I was willing to like blast them if it was necessary. But you know, I really tried to work with the company first and really like try to resolve the issue with the company before I made the video, because you know, I don't think they wanted to be presented in a negative light either.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe there's an element of the fact that I was a creator that they were willing to send me another controller as a fix. You know, I can't deny that maybe that was a thing. But initially I tried to like reach out to them as an anonymous person and be like, "Hey, my controller's having issues. Can you guys help me with it?" And then they were like, "Okay, where's your purchase receipt?" And I was like, "Oh, actually, you guys sent it to me." So I tried to like come across as like an anonymous person to try like get as fair of a review as possible.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, at the end of the day, while the controller had its issues and had to, you know, get sent in for them to, I don't know what they're doing with that controller, get it replaced. Like, you know, I got to at least see the company, like I got to experience the company at their worst, and their worst was still much better than a lot of other companies.
Definitely. So your channel has grown quite a bit. You've hit like the monetization milestone. You are starting like collaborations with companies that like you are willing to be behind, like JB5, like Handheld, and you know the many that are going to come in the future. At what point do you see, okay, I've done these initial milestones, which like for the fact, you know, given the fact that you were able to do them within like 6 months or so, are still incredibly difficult milestones to hit. Now that you're at this point, do you have the immediate plan for what's the next phase of either finishing the series? Is it additions to it, spin-offs, anything to the channel and the content that like that you have, and how much of it is shaped by where you're at now, and how much of it was shaped by that initial plan from video one?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to eventually have a character crisis video for every single character in Ultimate. Like, that was the goal of this. That is the stated goal of the series. I'm suffering from a character crisis. I want to give every character a chance at becoming my main.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the ultimate end goal, is to make a video about every single character. But you know, my interests change. Like, a few weeks ago, I uploaded a video about Melee because I watched Triff do really well at Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was like, I want to talk about his Peach because it's really that cool of a Peach. And so I posted a Melee video. Rivals 2 came out, and I'm a huge fan of Rivals of Ether 1. So I was really excited for Rivals 2. And so I was like, you know, I'm going to do character crisis for Rivals as well. And so like that's areas where my content's like branching out a bit. I have a character crisis video about Street Fighter when from playing like Chun-Li.
Nice.
Although Chun-Li is just my main. I've never made another character crisis video for Street Fighter. When I get to Ken and Ultimate, I'll boot Street Fighter back up again. But like the core of the channel is character crisis, and you know, that's what people come to my channel for now, and that's the kind of content that I need to refocus on. Because what I've done in the past several months is, you know, I've bounced around between a lot of different videos. And like I made a Melee video, I've made Rivals videos, but I need to double down and really focus on character crisis again. Because there's still a lot of characters in this game, and
83
I'm
something
trying
like that.
my best, but I've gotten like 30 character crisis videos done so far, and I'm still like, even if I uploaded a character crisis video every single week for the next year, it would still take a year to finish it. And I mean, you guys can look at my upload frequency. It's not that good. It's not. Only on Tuesdays is an ambition, and the goal. It is not the reality right now.
Yep. If someone will ask you, say, "Hey, is that video coming up?" Wait, what day is it today? It's Wednesday. Well, see, there you go. It's not. It's Wednesday. It's not a Tuesday. Video can't go up.
Yeah, that's. Oh my god. It's. On one hand, giving myself a deadline of the video has to be done by Tuesday works well for me, because I know that I'm the kind of person that would just continue to procrastinate if I don't give myself a deadline. But the alternative really sucks, where it's like, I got everything about the video done except this one thing, and it's already 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm not going to be able to get it done in time. So
just wasn't the right Tuesday. It's all it was. It wasn't the right Tuesday.
Well, actually, that happened this week, because I wanted to get my Pyra Mithra video done last week. But I wasn't able to. Like, I literally got everything done except the editing, which is the most time-consuming part of the video. And so I was just like, all right, fine. It's got to wait for next Tuesday, which I think is going to work out better for me, because it'll be after Kagaribi. And I think that thanks to Kagaribi being the biggest Smash tournament in the history of the game, is going to bring a lot of attention back on Smash Bros. Content. So I think it's better for me to upload my Pyra Mithra video after Kagaribi rather than before. So you're right. It wasn't the right Tuesday.
There you go.
But like, as for like the content and where I want to take the channel in the future, I need to finish Character Crisis, and I know why I need to finish Character Crisis, because of a short series I did. So I wanted to talk about shorts. So let's get into that. I think shorts are very good, but you have to have strategy with them. Shorts are amazing at getting you instant views. Lots of people will see you. And, you know, it's a great way to put your face out there. Like, if you attach a face to a short and that short does well, your face is now more recognizable. And you're going to get far more views from shorts than you are going to get from long form videos, simply because they're easier to make and put out. And so what happened was I started a short series about this is Smash Crash Course with TuesdayTastic, and I'm going to teach you how to play as click random wheel on Smash Ultimate Random Picker Ken in a minute or less. And when I made that short series, the thing about me and the way I make content is I like it when I have a series to work with. I'm making a character crisis videos. I am making Smash Crash Course. I'm making my current short series is matchup check, how to beat a character in a minute or less. And when I was first starting getting into shorts, my first few shorts were just I just took content I made from my long form, like my combo video, and just posted it as a short, and it didn't do very well. And so, but when I have a series to work with, the title of the series is the number one most important thing to me. If it does not have a good title for the series, it's not a good series, in my opinion. And so I liked Smash Crash Course because it has that rhyming and alliteration. And so what happened with that series was it took me about 6 months from start to finish to get a video for every single character. And what I noticed was that when I finished my series and actually had a video for every single character on my channel, a lot of my older Crash Course videos started getting comments all of a sudden. When I finished the series finally, I then saw people go back through my backlog and watch my videos and comment on older stuff. And so I overall just saw an increase in views on my channel. And so now that I have that data, I know that when I eventually do finish Character Crisis, I'm going to get a lot of views from people watching my content. Because if I ever get to the point where I say I have mained every single character in Smash, people will be like, well, I want to see the video about my main. And so they'll go and watch that. But until I actually make a video about every character in Smash, in the meantime, my videos aren't going to do as well. But I know that by the time I eventually make a video about every single character, by the time I upload that last video, I do believe that I can do full-time content by then.
And like I said, by then, Smash 6 is right around the corner. You create that catalog. Now you have multiple different types of catalogs for folks to look back on and be like, I wonder what the difference was like then to once, the revamp, whether it be the deluxe, the reboot, the whatever, we're going back to broad number of characters, melee number of characters, right? Who makes it in, who makes it out, all that jazz. And you can be like, so this is the difference between right here or whatever.
But I can't make a strategy for that kind of content because I don't know what Smash 6 looks like yet. I don't have a strategy for that game because it doesn't exist. So in the meantime, I just got to keep on working on what I do know exists with my hope is that Smash Ultimate Deluxe comes out because one, I actually really like Smash Ultimate. I think it's a great game. I think it gets a lot of hate because people are just gonna hate. And
haters be hating.
And some of it's warranted. I did say Min Min and Steve for a reason earlier. But at the end of the day, I do think that the base engine for Ultimate is very solid, and it just needs a Smash Ultimate Deluxe that tweaks the engine a little bit, nerfs a couple of characters, buffs a few. I think that would make Smash Ultimate into a much better game. And if we got DLC waves 3 and 4 that brought us to over 100 characters in Smash Ultimate, that's my dream.
Crazy. We can finally get Master Chief and Dante.
I think that'd be sick. I'd love to do a Character Crisis video on Master Chief.
That'd be fun.
But that's my hope. And that's kind of what I'm basing my channel. That's kind of where my channel is positioned right now, is it will do really well if Deluxe comes out. Otherwise, if it's a new Smash game, I'll have to figure out my content strategy for that Smash game.
Yeah, certainly.
But in the meantime, I'm just not touching Smash 6 content because I don't know what it looks like yet, so there's no point in me to do that.
True. I kind of want to ask, since the strategy going forward is basically not necessarily milk the last of Ultimate, but like refine the last bits of Ultimate during the time frame that you do have before a new strategy for either new strategy for Ultimate or the new strategy for the new game once that comes out. Do you have like additional side series that work within the same realm? Like, I played box for a month, or like whatever that happens to be. Is that like one of those, I kind of have to put that on the back burner for right now? Or do you think you have enough steam to like actually start pushing it so that you can actually probably do a sister series to the main Character Crisis series?
Yeah, I mean, that sister series already exists. It's called Rivals of Ether 2. And, you know, ideally, I think something, a way I could position my channel in the future is move into other fighting games, right? I mean, that's why I'm like dipping my toes into Rivals of Ether right now. One, because I want to make content for that game. I think it's cool.
It's a real cool game.
Two, because I want to test the waters. Like, do people know me as the Character Crisis guy? Like, can I do this for other channels? And, you know, I'd say my Arcane video, it's got like, I want to say 4,000 views right now. That's a success for me. I'd say, even though it's not like doing as well as my other videos for a different game, I know it has enough overlap with Smash that I'm able to safely experiment into this game and see it do well. My Melee video, no, not doing as well. Still like 700 views for my Triff video. But what I was actually listening to a podcast today about like being a creator on YouTube. And one of the things that they said that really stuck out to me was 80% of the content you're producing for your channel needs to be for your core demographic. And in my case, that's Character Crisis videos. And so moving forward, I'm going to really try to double down on my Character Crisis videos. I think the ideal upload schedule for me would look something like this. 3 out of 5 of my videos are Smash Ultimate Character Crisis videos. 1 out of 5 of my uploads are Rivals of Ether 2 Character Crisis videos. And then my 1 out of 5 is going to be, let's experiment and do something new. And, you know, I've been dipping my toes in Melee because like I've been playing more Melee than Ultimate, truthfully. But look, man, Mewtwo's cool, and it's nice having a main again. I'm not even kidding. Like, maining Mewtwo, it feels so good because I can like actually just be like, oh, this matchup frustrates me. I'm gonna keep grinding this matchup and like not just jump to a new character. Which, I mean, that's something else I guess I want to talk about is the difference between like having a main and going through a Character Crisis. Because when I was maining Daisy, I mained her for like 4 years and did pretty well with her. But I definitely hit a wall where, you know, I got really good at my combos with her. Like something I do with my Daisy that I don't see anyone else do is drag down up airs. Like I was cool. I did stuff that no one else was doing. But the trade-off was that my gameplay was hyper focused around these combos. I knew how to get my down tilt combos. I knew how to get my dare up air drag down combos. But outside of my combo starters, was I really playing the game or was I just playing fish for down tilt? And so when I got my hits in, I was great. But I wasn't good at playing the rest of the game. And so now what I'm doing for Character Crisis is I'm having the exact opposite issue. Like I can play Mario for a week and if I want to do well with Mario, I know I don't have the time to really optimize my combo game to the point that the Mario mains who've been playing for 6 years have. So instead, what I have to do is be good at playing neutral. I have to be good at playing my disadvantage. And I just got to, when I do hit them, yeah, it's going to be for 40% instead of 80%. And I just got to win neutral again. I gotta just not die when I'm in disadvantage. And it's forcing me to play the game in a different way. And as a result, and it's not just that, though. It's also learning new mechanics about the game. Like every character I play now, I try to learn one new universal mechanic about Smash Ultimate. Like, what if I want to get better at instant double jumps with this character because it's really good on this character? It may not be helpful on my next character, but at the end of the day, learning the universal mechanic instant double jump is going to help all my characters. And so I'm just trying to like add just like one little thing again, like with my YouTube videos. It's one little thing at a time that you do to improve yourself over and over again. And yeah, my combos are not as good as other players, but I'm still able to compete and do well now. Yeah. And actually, I've been having like the best tournament results of my career as of recently. But there was a period of time where, I took a set off of the 5th best player in Utah 1 month before starting Character Crisis, and then I went 0-2 like 4 times in a row because I was trying to play the game in a way that I just wasn't good at. But now I'm like starting to now I've reached my 2-2er, my consistent 2-2er point again, where it doesn't matter what character I play, I'm pretty confident I can go 2-2 with them, to the point where I made top 8 at my local for the first time ever with Ike. Nice. Which surprised me. And my Utah locals are big. We get like 50 people per local. So that was pretty exciting for me. Like I almost made it out of pools at least rival side with at Genesis. Like my skill level has never been this good. It's hard for people to see that since I'm playing a new character every week and I'm going back to the drawing board every time. But I know for a fact that if I were to just like say, yeah, I still love Daisy. I'm still a Daisy main
at heart.
And I mean, hey, Box Daisy's coming out. Watch out. If I were to just like solo main again after doing this Character Crisis for so long, I think I would start doing really well at my locals. And I know I would do well at my locals. I think I could probably get top 25 in Utah if I were to be a solo main again. Yeah. Maybe better. But the goal is just top 50 in Utah as a random main. And I haven't hit that goal yet. So we got to keep grinding.
Got to be the top 100 on the shoe stats random main. That's when you know you made it.
Actually. I'm ranked 80th.
What's on the most recent one? What are you?
That one I'm not ranked because I was inactive. But I was ranked 80th on like one of the previous shoe stats ones.
Dang. Gotta get you back on there, man. Gotta get you back on random main.
If I just enter tournaments, it'll be the case. But again, real life stuff is taking priority over the YouTube channel right now.
True. That's how it is. I see like you have a lot going on. You have a clear vision. You have clear execution for where this channel is, where you're planning to take it, the ideas of like how to formulate these executions are really spot on. And that's awesome. I need you to like just give yourself a quick pat on the back because man, that's intense that you're able. There you go. That's my man's. You're able to do that like so like surgically to be able to do it again this late into the lifespan of the game, to have that many subscribers, to have as many videos as you did, and also some of them to break pretty good metrics for dead game, as people were saying, being doomer about it for a little while, is pretty awesome, man. That's great stuff. I'm so glad you're reaching these great nexus points for content creation. Again, who knew getting really mad at Magic the Gathering and tanking millions of dollars in value could lead you to
lead to Smash Bros. YouTube channel.
Exactly. Terry. Tuesday, I love this. Thank you very much for the time. I'm so sorry, like, we got mixed up last week about the time frame and what was going on, but I'm so super glad that we're able to have this conversation. It's crazy. It's cool to have, like, picking the brain and understanding the process of a content creator for this game, because it's oftentimes, like, when people think like Smash Brothers content creator, they'll think like, oh, Hungrybox doing his Wi-Fi tournament runs. That's really about it. Because he's like the biggest ultimate creator, I think, as of right now. Like, doing this and doing something that is wholly unique like this is awesome to see, and working to those milestones that you've gotten to is awesome. And I'm glad we had the time to talk about it, man. It's really cool. Thank you for taking the time. Like I said, we had to like reschedule because like we super messed up like a little while ago, and we weren't clear about when the actual time we were going to do this.
Hey, you know what? Worked out though.
It did. I think we're going to cut it at this for right now. And we're going to move on to our last segment. But before we go there, do you have any shout outs? Do you have any promo codes? And is there anyone that you want to thank before we move on to the last portion of the night?
Yeah, I mean, someone I'd actually like to thank is Yin Light, who is your most recent guest.
Shout out to Yin.
Who is actually one of my tenants. He's helping me pay the mortgage. But like, I genuinely do want to shout him out because when I was first like getting into hosting my own tournaments, which, by the way, for those who don't know, I host tournaments like once every 3 months on my channel. Same style of like H boxes, coin boxes, or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Except I do a twist on them every single time. Like my most recent tournament was stamina mode. I've done hazards on tournaments. Mm-hmm. I've done Nuzlocke tournaments before. And so like you should definitely look into those and join those. But I'm shouting out Yin specifically because he's Utah's most active Smash Bros commentator. And when I was getting into those tournaments, I just kind of sent him a message. We weren't even close friends at the time, just acquaintances. But I asked him for advice on commentary. And a year and a half later, he's been helping me get connections in commentary that I would have never had before. I mean, my first local I ever went to, I got on the mic for fun, and I really loved it because I've always admired commentators. That's something about me is like, even in Magic the Gathering, I can name sets off the top of my head because I care about it. I care about the art form. And so to then a few years later, see myself in the commentator booth working with people like Mars Bars or Cirque or whoever, like that's really exciting for me. That was genuinely like a dream come true for me. And Smash is to like do commentary for these events. And so I have to give a shout out to Yin for that, for getting me those connections and helping me get those gigs lined up. And I'd also have to shout out Handheld Legends, of course. I do have an affiliate code, TuesdayTastic, not code Tuesday, unfortunately. I messed up the show earlier. But no, like but like Handheld Legends, like if you buy anything using my link, I make 10% off of that. And I do believe in their product. Like, I mean, something I bought recently, this is something I bought from them. they didn't send it to me, is this micro
Ooh.
GameCube adapter.
Ooh.
It's tiny. And
Oh,
able to play
mates.
4 players, and
No way. That's cool.
It's got a lot of cool features to it. But like, I needed a new adapter. I was gonna just buy an official one, and then I saw my sponsor had one while I was at Genesis. I was just talking with him at the booth, and I was just like, "Oh, I've been needing an adapter. Oh, I guess I'll just buy yours." And like, it works good.
That's
I haven't
awesome.
had issues. I mean, I'll also shout out JV5. I don't have any like active affiliate links or sponsors going on with them, but I do like the company. I think that they make really sick merch.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, if you wanted to check out like cool Smash Bros inspired merch, like definitely check them out. But yeah, I mean, I'd also like to just shout out my family, I guess. There was that period of time where I tried to be a part-time YouTuber, part-time employee. And, I did not make a lot of money during that time. But my family, at the end of the day, they were able to help me out by giving me a place to live when I needed it, letting me get back on my feet. And then, more than that, they helped me move into this house. And, a lot of it was labor and sweat on my part. Like, there's a lot of sweat equity put into this house on my end, but the opportunity would not have happened without them. So.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you were there for Yins in the background. You held them up at gunpoint at the very end. So you know how we end these the same way.
I think I had a job interview that day, and I'm glad I didn't get that job. But it was funny because I thought it was just going to be like a 1-hour interview with you.
No.
And then it went to 2 hours, and I was like, I need to leave soon. We were taking his car or something. I can't remember why I needed him to come with me.
Yeah.
But like, I was trying to be really nice in the video whenever I popped in, while still being like,
"Hey man,
go." Like, I was off. Like I was like cracking open the door while Kyler was doing his interview, and like pointing at the time, like,
"Come on."
It was funny though. Funny story now. Like, it didn't harm anything.
Yeah. And again, the finger guns coming out at the very. That was good. So like I said,
hey, you know what? Like, I can communicate my point and still make it fun.
Exactly. So like I said, the same way we end it every single time. We're gonna do the 10 questions. Doesn't have to be about Smash. Can be about Smash if it doesn't need to be. If it does, if it is, it is, and if it isn't, it isn't. And we're gonna flip a coin. If I can get flip a coin to show up. Flip a coin. All right. And that will determine who asks the 10 questions. Again, it can be anything as long as it's not out of pocket. So far, nothing out of pocket has happened, so we're good. All right. So what I want to know, heads.
I love Yin, but having him on my streams has taken me. I've had some conversations with him about what is and isn't okay on my channel.
All right. So heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails. Let's see. Does it fail? And you got heads. Oh my God. Lots of coin flip. All right. So
yeah.
You know what? I will. I've been asking a lot of questions. Let's hear what 10 rapid fire questions that can be about anything you have for me. I will answer first.
Okay. Yeah. What first got you in? Like, why did you start deciding to interview creators and people within the Smash scene?
So it kind of goes with what I originally wanted to do within the Smash community, which is going out there, talking to people, and getting people's stories. The very first one was with Oats of Major Zine. Major Zine is no longer an active publication anymore. It's like a little fanzine that was done through that was done mostly centered around Melee, but there was a little bit of PM and Smash Ultimate and just Smash in general. And having our conversation was kind of what led to this live chat series that I've been putting together. And what was really interesting was the concept of like, there's so many artists, there's so many writers, there's so many people within the Smash scene that like bring something that, you know, a lot of people don't really know about. And it's good to like hear from them, right? The thing I say is like, everyone knows HBox's story. Everyone's going to know MKLeo's story, the Spargo story, the Akala story. Freaking people are learning the Josh Man story. Like all these major players are eventually going to have a portion of their story very well documented, but not too many people know about the guy that's running a zine. Not many people are going to know the background history of the company that makes these digital controllers. There's not too many people who are going to know the background of certain commentators, right? Like some people have very specific things in their life that like, yeah, you may kind of casually know them, but you might not necessarily know their experiences, how they got brought in, and those stories are just as, if not more important than the Spargos and the Mangos of the world, because the 99.8% of the scene is not them. So doing a series like this and doing having these conversations are
my experience with. Yeah, but so people in person within the last like year or so, that's really awesome for me. But at the end of the day, what I'm learning is that there's a lot of people in the Smash Bros scene who aren't the MKLeos, who aren't the Spargos, and you know, I've gotten to meet these people at these majors, and I've been like, I sit down to play friendlies with them, and as I'm talking with them, it's like, oh, you're Rosebloom. You're the person who does all these tweets about Japanese Smash tournaments. Like I get to meet these other individuals who I may just know as a digital face, but at the end of the day, we all come together because we all love Smash Bros, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, 100%, and that's kind of the mission statement of this series. And like, will I be willing to have like HBox on if you wanted to be on? Yeah, sure, why not? That's totally cool. I'd be a tad bit more interested in Chia, and considering, you know, her time frame in the scene, like going back to Melee and Brawl. Yeah, and
Chia was someone I met at Supernova.
Right, like her story is like
Chia was
crazy.
One of those people I met where sorry, she is cool. I love her.
Yeah, great. Again, the idea of like the story of, you know, Chia, and then like also what she brings to Smash Brothers in the sense of like the background content creation of everything, her time competing, seeing like all these different world perspectives about the scene that like a lot of people probably have no idea about, right? So like she would be much more interesting to have on rather than HBox, right? Like having commentators like who, you know, you may not know about them, like, or not know about like their story. One of the silliest things I found that was funny was Momo found Smash Brothers by accident because he went to go get a cheesesteak. and I think that's right. And I think that's pretty awesome. Funny, right? Like I didn't know Lyric was a veteran of the scene for years before most people knew who she was when she hopped on commentary. And again, these are the kinds of stories that like people are not going to know until someone decides to ask them and for them to talk about it. So yeah, that's the long and short of it.
I love it. No, that's perfect. In my Twitter bio, it says I create content I want that doesn't exist yet, and I believe that's the whole impetus behind content creation, or at least it should be, is that you can create something that no one else in the world can create.
All right, question number 2.
Okay. Have you done content creation before this podcast?
No. This is the first of it, and what I do and the way I'm doing it is the only thing that I've done. I've never actively made mass like consumption, or not, I wouldn't say mass consumption, but like dedicated creation of content. Really it.
No, I think that's great. Everyone has to start somewhere. Like, I started with Reddit articles, so like here I am now. Yeah. Well, I guess for my third question then is, what are some of the most interesting lessons you have learned from, going into content creation?
Know what you don't know what you're doing until you actually start putting it out there. The first most important thing you can do is complete the thing and actually put it up. The second most important thing is learning what you did and then do that better. And then the third most is what you didn't do the second time and do it better. And then the fourth is what you didn't do right the third time and didn't do that better. Ostensibly, the majority of what I'm doing here is communicating with people and telling people stories. But I also have videos on, putting together my gram for the first time, showing off the nanogram, a couple of shorts of the thing and putting it out there.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, the only reason I've gotten to this point now is because I started with a Reddit article that was really bad, had lots of, I used to love commas and would just put them everywhere. And, I was just a high schooler. I wasn't that good yet. But I kept following my passion, kept on posting articles, and, eventually I reached a point with my articles where it's like, I could work on my grammar a little bit better. I could get better at that. And then I was like, okay, you know what, let's actually create a thumbnail for this article this time. I've never done that before. So what do I need for that? There's this free software called GIMP. I guess I'll download that. And, I just slowly and surely added more and more skills to my repertoire, which is its own problem because once you add something to a video or to a product and you like it, you can never go back.
Yep.
And, maybe it's just like an extra half an hour of work this time. Add that up every single time. And then the video starts taking 6 months to come out from the time you named the character.
True. All right. Next question. I think question number 4.
Yeah. Who do you main?
It's funny because the first character I tried to really main was Bowser. I then learned the concept of neutral with Min Min. I started getting pretty good with K. Rool. And now I think my actual main is Game & Watch. So in Ultimate, I'm going to say my mains are being a dual main Game & Watch and K. Rool player. Melee, it's Puff. I'm learning Kazuya just because I have it.
You started at the bottom of the tier list, then you went up to the top, then he went down, then he went up.
Yeah, I'm all over the tier list. Every area of the tier list, I'm there, right? So those are my Smash mains. Puff for melee. For ultimate, it's K Rool and Game and Watch, and learning Kazuya just so that I can make use of this thing right here. So that's
I learned Kazuya on a controller. He was the third character I mained for my series, and it didn't go very well. That Kazuya was very bad after very 7 crusty days. But I really like Kazuya as a character. Like Tekken's one of my favorite series. So I now have a decent Kazuya. I can play Fundy's Kazuya now.
Fundy's Kazuya, nice. Speaking of Tekken, I don't know. I don't remember if I said this. I'm a King main in Tekken. All right, next question.
Yeah, you need the 0 to deaths.
True.
Kazuya needs it, believe it or not.
Believe it or not. All right, I think it's question 5. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah. What's been something about this content creator journey that you started going on that surprised you the most?
The fact that eventually people are going to start coming to me. The next have reached out to me specifically. So when there's I
mean, when I saw that you were interviewing Yin, I wanted to get in on it.
Actually, so I think after Azura, I stopped I don't want to say I stopped reaching out to people, but after Azura, it was easier to and then intro it by saying, hey, I'm a big fan of what you do. And I let them know, because it looks like a giant copy paste, because it kind of is. But I specifically say something that lets them know I'm talking to you specifically. When I reached out to Lyric, is hey, you as a commentator, out to, I'm trying to remember who I reached out to at this point. I don't even remember who I reached out to, but I reached out to people specifically saying, hey, I like the fact that you have you fulfill this role within the space, within the community, and I want to know about your story. So now to the point where after Azura, we've had Ian who've reached out. I had Cirque who've reached out. I've also had the next 2 guests personally reach out to me. And it's something that I didn't expect to happen, but something that I knew was going to happen eventually. I didn't expect to happen within, I guess, 12, 13 iterations of I
don't actually know. You're just kind of throwing it out into the void. And then to have actual people talk to you and be yeah, no, I do watch your stuff. I do like your content. I do like what you're doing. Mm-hmm. It's a very good feeling. It's one thing when it's just a comment online, right? It's another thing when you're talking to that person in person, mm-hmm. right? And I don't know, what 1 year of YouTube. And so I was I still felt like a nobody. But it was there that I met people and I told them about my channel and they're oh yeah, I've watched your stuff before. I'm from Norway. And I was whoa, that is so cool. It was just
as dope.
That for the first time.
A zine is they're holding it in their hand. They're I don't know what this is. So they'll just toss it on the ground, throw it away, whatever. Zines are really a holdover from old DIY subcultures. It's really huge in alternative fashion. It's really huge in the punk scene, hardcore scene, alternative music scenes. The same one. He gets he gets the whole like get every issue of the initial run and buy that as a package set. And someone comes up to him and says, "Hey, you're the person from Major Zine." And he goes, "Yeah, I am." And this person, she's like from like Ecuador or something, who was there that same night from the initial zine, took a copy of that and brought it to Ecuador and like held on to it for years and years until finally coming back to Genesis and actually seeing a copy of that with her to Oates. And it's like, hey, I want to hold everything. I took one of these to Ecuador all these years later, and because I wanted to keep something from here. And now I'm a TO for my local area. I love coming over here. And like, yo, this is a very tactile thing that I have. And it's proof that like at the very beginning, you may not know where the things that you create end up going and how long and how lasting of an impact it can have so many years later.
Yeah, I mean, I made that infographic for Magic the Gathering. I made it because I was frustrated with the game. And you know what? Then dominoes started falling and I ended up costing them a lot of money. And, you know, hopefully doing that is going to make Magic the Gathering like recognize, hey, a lot of players aren't happy with the current direction we're taking. It takes them a long time. It takes them like 3 years to actually have any internal decisions like change course in the company. But I hope that by putting that article out there, that it made them reconsider some of the things they were doing. And, you know, hopefully they can find a balance that makes old grognards like me happy while still bringing in new players with Final Fantasy or whatever. Because, like, yeah. I just hope that the stuff you make does have impact, even if only 10 people see it. Those are still real people.
All right. I believe we're on question number 7 now.
Okay. What's been your favorite part about the creation process? And then the follow-up question is going to be, what's been your least favorite part?
Let's have that be the same question, the favorite and least favorite. The favorite obviously is when it comes to this specific format is having the conversations, because again, being able to pick the brain of certain people and like hearing where they come from, how they see certain parts of whatever conversation that we have. That is like the thing that like I really enjoy. Again, I'm a yapper, so I like hearing and talking and having conversations with people and stuff like that, right? Like I come from like an old school like punk background, so like you're going to be running into people, you might never see them ever again, but you will share a moment with them in some way, shape, or form. So like having this is like an extended version of that kind of experience, right? So doing the thing like that is probably the most favorite. Like the least favorite is not really a least favorite. It's more of the most difficult to be able to do, considering my work-life balance, which is some of the more edited stuff like shorts and stuff like that. Like sometimes I'll be rewatching the same video like 3-4 times, screen recorded on my phone, because I'll be able to edit it like on CapCut on my phone at the time, and that's how I can get it in, rather than being like at the computer and actually doing the more slightly more complicated edits that I like doing from time to time. Outside of those, and like everything up until the point of like knowing whether or not I have to actually put it together is the fun part. That it's more of like the difficult part. It's not really the least enjoyable. because I like seeing it come together.
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, because like I would say that like my favorite part of the creation process is, you know, the writing the script. Like I mean, writing background, right? I really love it when I can play a character, formulate opinions and ideas about that character, especially if they go against the grain, and then be able to see that idea, present itself in words, and then being able to the whole creation process of like choosing the right visuals to go alongside the script, like actually voice recording the script. Like I have a background, a minor background in like voice acting and whatnot, and so like being able to change my inflection and tone in my script while I'm reading the script. I mean, it comes from being a dungeon master in the day. Like I took voice acting classes for the specific purpose of being a better dungeon master. It was really funny because like my friend forced me to join this class because it was gonna not hit the threshold to actually be a class unless I joined. And so I'm sitting in this circle with people who are like part of this like advanced voice training class or voice acting class, and they're like, yeah, I want to become I'm taking this class because I want to become a professional voice actor. I'm taking this class because I want to do like voice or like vocal therapy or whatever. And then I'm just like, hi, I like Dungeons and Dragons. But it actually ended up being like a very useful skill for me to have.
Yeah, so. That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I can definitely see how being a DM and like needing voice acting really helps out. It distinguishes each other. If you don't got a designated voice, whether you written out or like actually acting it out, yeah, I can see where that could go horribly awry. All right.
Yeah, but then like the hardest part about the creation process is at the end of the day, the actual creating, because it is work. It is work to edit a 15-minute video, because like for every minute that you're editing, you should probably be spending an hour on that minute, or more. And if you want to have like a high quality video, that is.
Yep.
Or if you're like doing shorts content, there was a period of time where I was doing daily shorts. That was when my channel was at its most successful. I got like 500,000 views in 3 months, mainly from shorts. But I burned out, man. Like that, like doing daily content like that, just kind of. So, yeah. So like, I get it. I thought I heard you say earlier that you got into TOing for like SoCal. I guess I was wrong.
No. No, I think I was referencing a TO from SoCal or something. But I am from SoCal. No, the closest thing to like being involved directly in the scene is I'm working on something with the folks of POW Gaming, the folks who sponsor Monty.
Hey, looking forward to that.
Hey, yeah, yeah. So let's redo that one, number 8.
Yeah. Yeah. How long have you been part of the Smash scene for?
It's weird because when I started doing these, I would say not very long. Because I got into Smash through Ultimate. As far as like directly following, directly being an active watcher or whatever, it was probably like in that 2018 era when like Ultimate's barely getting out there. I started watching, or I had watched the Smash doc like in the 2018, so right before Smash Ultimate got launched. But my most active period within the Smash scene has been 2022, 2023. So my hyperactivity within the scene has been within the last 3 years, but I've been following it for the last like 7 or 8. So yeah, it's a lot longer now that I'm putting it in perspective, but like relatively speaking,
kind of similar to me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Question number 9.
Yeah, like I started to. Yeah. Who is your favorite god?
Ooh. I think in terms of like it's difficult because it's super between like Mango and HBox. And it's weird because they're so diametrically opposed from each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? My brother is like number 1 in the Mango Nation. So we can't have 2 mangoes in the same family. So I'll be HBox.
All right. Hey, I mean, I wouldn't have said that you can't be a Mango fan because, like, truthfully, what happened with me was I was always kind of a Mango hater. Mainly because, Mango fans can be Mango fans and be a bit much at times. And I've always loved Armada, so like I had that rivalry too.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went to Genesis X and I met Mango in person for the first time, I got to tell him about my channel only on Tuesdays because he has a podcast called On
Tuesday. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I got to tell him, like, hey, I got my YouTube channel, man. And he was just like, that's mine now. And I was like, no, it's not. I have an LLC for this. You're not taking my stuff. But like it was he, like just talking with him and getting to meet him in person. It made me a Mango fan. I hate to admit it. He's just so personable. But I am happy to report that when I met him at Genesis X, he had more subscribers than me, and I told him, I'm coming for you, Mango. And I passed him this year. So, yeah. I can say that I've beaten Mango at something. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Final question to ask. Again, can be about anything, can be about nothing.
Yes. When the next Smash game comes out, do you want it to be Smash Deluxe or a reboot?
Reboot or deluxe? I think truth be told, like having a deluxe solidifies the game that we have it in the way that we have it like this. But I Smash 4 numbers, having that reboot is going to be a much more impactful game than doing a deluxe, personally. Mm-hmm. Is it going to suck that like some of the stuff that I like about the game changes? Yeah, whatever. But to have it a reboot.
My big thing for why I want deluxe over a reboot is because I just can't imagine cutting anyone from Smash after they said everyone is here. How do you walk that back? And so that's my hope, is that the next Smash game still has all the characters that they've added, because getting added to Smash at this point is a pretty monumental achievement if your character can make it into Smash. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to see no more cuts. And at the very least, though, I'd still like to see moveset reworks of characters. Or, this is my personal headcanon, I think a Smash Bros. Multiverse could be kind of cool, where you pick Mario on the select screen, but then you choose between you choose between Odyssey Mario, 64 Mario, or like Sunshine Mario, and you get a different moveset based off that. So it represents the history of the character better. That's what I think would make a good follow up to Smash Ultimate, and still keep it like deluxe-y. I need to make sure my channel survives somehow.
True. If not for a selfish reason, a deluxe, right?
Yes, exactly.
There we are, 10 questions. You've asked yours. Now it's my turn. Now I get to ask 10 questions. All right. Question number 1. If you were to do, instead of character crisis, controller crisis, where you finally choose your main and try to use the different controllers to that is most optimal for your main, which do you think would be the most like try for the series? Which controller do you think would be the most difficult to try for the series? And like to like actually give it its fair shot.
DK bongos. I would try to main DK with them.
With the bongos?
I would. Actually, one of our local players here in Utah, he's pulled up to a local with like so many different weird controllers. My favorite one that he's ever played like tournament sets with is a Guitar Hero controller.
Hell
and
yeah.
He was playing in bracket with it.
Hell yeah.
There's a picture of him playing Guitar Hero character. I don't know, probably Hero. And versus someone who was literally playing Smash one-handed because they didn't have an arm. It's the wildest picture I've ever seen from one of our locals. But as for like actually learning like a real controller, truthfully, I don't think I'd struggle that much with box because I play Tekken with keyboard already. And you know, I'm a writer. I'm very used to typing on a keyboard. And so like I've been wanting to get into box for personal reasons just because like I have been starting to experience more and more hand pain just in general. And so I think it'd probably be best for me to switch to a more ergonomic controller in the future. I still really like my Pro GCC. I still think it's a great controller. But like I might be sending a DM to Graham one of these days and be like, hey, I did this for this controller. Maybe we could do something for this time. I don't know.
Yeah, I highly recommend Graham. Like they're great people over there. This is honestly one of the coolest controllers I've ever owned in my entire life. It's great stuff. I highly recommend it. Nick Bruises from Graham. They're the ones who are kind of helming the team for right now. Kind of like a one man operation. But yeah. I if you do end up going with like digital leverless, Graham is my number one. If you think you want to go with something that's physically lighter than this, I would recommend going with Granola Arcade. They have the Plateau, which is like an all-in-one 3D printed body. So imagine this with the proper standard layout, same WASD layout as a Graham.
Yeah, I think one controller that's really cool is the Prism. Have you ever seen that one? It's so weird. I don't know. It makes you feel like an alien has come down to play Melee, and I kind of love it for that.
I was working on a secret project that never came to fruition. Now, a while back, Wisely made a video about controllers, and he was like, "Hey, the Prism, that's crazy." And I was like, imagine making one out of cardboard. It would be the origami Prism, because I have the ever so classic cardboard box.
Love that.
I was thinking to myself, what if I made an origami Prism?
Whoa. That's so cool. Yeah, no, that's actually super dope.
As you can see,
I'd play that on tournament.
with the whole Pico board and everything. I never came back to it because I was having frustrations with the flashing the firmware. But this is the first, to my own knowledge, the only origami Prism to exist.
Hell yeah. That's so sick. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in playing Smash with leverless more in the future. I've been of the opinion in like Melee for a while now. I know this is a hot take, but I believe that, you know, we already have UCF. We already have like tournament mods where we can, like, thanks Nintendo. Like, I am interested in seeing Melee get explored to its absolute limits. And if it means ditching GameCube controllers to switch to boxes and whatever, as a, you know, primarily spectator of Melee, more recently a competitor as well. But as this spectator of Melee, I want to see Melee like really hit its peak potential. And you know what? That means that when Elon Musk starts putting chips into all of us, like, I'm down. Give me that Neuralink Melee. I'm ready. I want to see that happen.
That Neuralink Melee. Oh, don't worry. Just a handful more chimpanzees have to die, and then we'll finally get it done.
Hey, but then my fox gets to be sick.
Sweet. Okay. Is this question two? Did I just barely ask my first question?
I guess the controller was the first question, yeah.
All right, so question number two.
Question. Be here a while.
Yeah, we are going to be here.
I don't got anywhere to go this time.
True. All right. Question number two. A real good question we like asking, and it's taken from Goods from the Woods podcast I've been on and listened to. What is your favorite thing that isn't there anymore from your childhood? Could be a place, a thing, or whatever. Favorite place from your childhood that isn't there anymore?
Honestly, my elementary school library. Like, I loved reading as a kid. I mean, I still read. I'm actually going to a book club meetup for the first time tomorrow. So I hope that'll turn out well. But like, the elementary school library was just a happy place for me. And I became good friends with the librarian there, to the point where they actually gifted me with like a box set of Percy Jackson.
Yo.
And
that's awesome.
Like, I don't know. There's just something. Yeah. So like, my elementary school library and my middle school library are pretty near and dear to me. But you know what the coolest part about moving into this house has been for me? There's a library within walking distance. And so I'm actually starting to go back to the library again, which is something I kind of fell out of during high school.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty.
Support your local libraries. They're wonderful.
This sounds like a PBS ad.
I grew up with bunny ear TVs. Like, PBS was one of the only channels we got.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Okay. Question number three. Have you it's hard to ask this question because when I think of Utah, I don't really think too many places where you can go to see these kinds of things. But have you ever been to like an underground DIY music venue where
all the time.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, Utah has a very good music scene, I'd say. I mean, Neon Trees actually started like Neon Trees, other there's a lot of bands that like initially started here in Utah. Like I mean, content creation is just something a lot of people in Utah do, like Brandon Sanderson, me, Electric Wind Girlfriend, I don't know. A lot of creators come out of Utah, and I think it may or may not have something to do with the Mormon Church. And if anyone's wondering, yes, I used to be religious, no longer. But the music scene specifically, like in Provo, there's this venue called Velour, which is where Neon Trees started. And I've been to multiple shows for that. I got this shirt from a music venue that I went to. This was an outdoor music venue. They just were selling thrifted clothes outside. And before I bought this piece of clothing, I didn't really care that much about fashion. But I really fell in love with this. And after I bought the VIP ticket too, because Crown the Second was literally happening in my backyard, being put on by my community, it was. And then DeBuzz lost in grands. It was the worst. Everything went wrong that day.
So much not like this happened.
And that was my first time. And it killed. It hurt so bad. Because I was literally there on my birthday eating sushi that we had ordered from our favorite sushi place. And it was the one night I couldn't taste food either. Everything went wrong. It was such.
What's your rig as far as like, either your tools like for content creation or like the actual like PC that you use, whatever. What's your rundown of like your tools for content creation?
I have stories, man.
Lord.
But she helped me build my PC, and she's like a wizard with technology. When I was putting my CPU into the computer, I like triple checked it to be like, am I putting this on correctly? And I still put it on incorrectly and broke some of the pins. And so I thought, like, she was just straight up telling me that like, oh, you probably ruined this and it's not good, but let me take a look at it. And she just bent multiple pins back in place, painstakingly realigned them, put it in. Some of the pins were broken, like 3 had fallen out, but they weren't essential pins. So those are my 2 main tools for making content. And then I just like use Google Docs to write my articles. I was using my WordPress website, but they then updated it and made the site really laggy when you're typing in it. And so I just switched to Google Docs. So it was weird, whatever. But
dang, crazy. That 4, 5, 6 year? 5-year check has still allowed you to make content to this day.
I mean, I'm afraid of the day that my computer bites the dust, mainly because I do need to buy some compressed air for it because there's way too much dust in the computer. But at the very least, I have taken apart and assembled my computer enough times now. And because I have had to like replace parts before, like there was oh my God, I forgot about this. But between the time that I was doing my Me Brawler video to my like hero video, this was the period of time where I was like doing my part-time content creation, part-time fast food job, right? My computer was blue screening like multiple times a week. It was the most stressed I've ever been about my computer. I could not identify what the issues were. I kept changing out the what are the sticks called? RAM? Yeah. 2 different times and I was able to get my computer back up and running. But that was not a good period of time. I was so stressed.
Brutal. Brutal.
Yeah. So, the nice thing about building your own PC, though, is if a part breaks, you don't have to throw the whole thing out. You just get a new part.
Big true, big true. All right, question number 5. I asked this to Yin, and I might as well ask you, do you have a favorite soda shop? Because I know there's a bunch of them all over the place.
Not really. I know Utah has like Swig and Sodalicious, and like dirty sodas are like Utah's dirty secret.
Mm-hmm.
But truthfully, I've never been a huge soda drinker. I try to eat healthy. They tend to lean more on the heavier side, and so I would like. I didn't want to become fat. I love you guys, but like one of the biggest like things I noticed that was different between my eating habits and theirs was just the soda they would drink, and like I like it every now and then. I'm not going to turn down a soda, but I know how unhealthy they are for you, and so I try to really limit my intake of them.
Fair.
But if I have to choose a favorite soda shop, or I'm not going to choose a favorite soda shop because they're all the same to me. But a dirty Dr. Pepper with like creamer or whatever into it, I like that.
Fair. That's good. At least we were able to get some semblance of a Utah answer out of it. All right. Question number 6. What was the biggest like culture shock that you've experienced when you traveled outside of region for the first time to a major or to a whatever?
So this was before I traveled to majors and stuff. I wouldn't say I've experienced like culture shock at majors before, because the culture is just Smash Bros, and I know the Smash Bros culture at this point. But my first experience with like real culture shock, I grew up in Utah my entire life. Utah is like 95% white, and then 4% Hispanic, and 1% black. And so I just didn't meet very many black people growing up. And what happened was I went to live in Georgia for 6 months with my uncle. I was doing online college at the time. And it was actually there. Okay, so I'll tell this. I'll answer your question and then I'll tell this little story. But when I first moved to Georgia, I had a legitimate culture shock moment where it's like, wow, there's a lot of black people living here. I'm not used to that. Not that it was a bad thing. Like, it was just different, and like it felt like a culture shock moment. But what happened was, while I was living in Georgia with my uncle, this was like right as I turned 18, and I didn't really know how to make friends, because a lot of the hobbies that I got into now, like D&D, Magic the Gathering, and Smash, I didn't really like. It was hard for me to play D&D with people there. I hadn't gotten into Magic yet, and I loved watching Smash Bros, but I didn't know about locals. And it wasn't until after I moved out of Georgia, was watching a Yeet Smash video, and I just saw in one of the clips, the bottom left, it said like Swanee, Georgia, and I was like, I lived there. I could have met Fatality. Are you kidding me? I main Falcon. I could have met my idol. And so, like, that was like the moment where I was like, oh my god, I need to go to my locals. And that was actually led to me going to my first Smash 4 local, was seeing a Yeet Smash video with the place I used to live, having a local right there.
That's crazy. Yeah. I always wonder, like, what is the biggest culture shock for, like, people who live out in,
Unfortunately, for a person from Utah, it is black people.
Yep. Yeah. I had a feeling that's what it was going to be. I had a feeling that was going to be. It was either that or like eating like actual Mexican food.
Oh no, we get good Mexican food here. I actually think Utah has really, like I said, we got a decent Hispanic population, especially in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And there's some really banger food trucks in Salt Lake City. Like I got my Rex.
Yeah, nice.
The Smith's parking lot on 9th and 9th South. Go check it out. They make great tacos.
The reason I say that the Mexican food part was I was listening to a podcast, and they had gone to White Horse, Canada, up in the Yukon, and these comedians who were from the area, like, they said they never liked Mexican food, but that's only because they had White Horse, Canada Mexican food, and not Mexican food where actual Mexicans are in the restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Utah, I'll give it up. We actually have a pretty decent Southwestern American, like, it's Mexican American, but it's at least good Mexican American.
Yeah.
Like I went to London once, and one of my favorite foods is chips and salsa. Like I kind of have to eat it. I literally have a bag of chips right here that I just keep on my desk. When I was in London, I was there for 2 weeks, and by the end of my 2 weeks, I was like, I really need some chips and salsa. I can't believe it, but the airport has chips and salsa here. Let's see what London chips and salsa tastes like. And it's not salsa, it's ketchup.
Yep.
More or less. That's it. It was the worst chips and salsa I ever had, but like I was just craving it, so it at least hit the spot.
Methadone. All right.
Could be worse. Could be soda.
True. I think we're at question 7. No.
I don't know. 6.
All right, so we're asking question 7 then. Question number 7.
Cool.
If you could live in another experience their Smash scene, but it's not an English-speaking country or Japan, what country would that be?
Mexico. I do speak a little bit of Spanish. I'm not like fluent, but I'm conversational. And like give me some good authentic tacos, like please. But I've met a couple of the Mexican players who came out to Crown, like Chag. He was really cool. I've interviewed Spargo. I've talked with Leo too. And I just really like the culture of Mexican Smash. It's very competitive, but in a way that's, they're all supporting each other, it feels like. It like one player does well, everyone does well in Mexico is what it feels like. And so I would love to go to a Smash Factor. I really wanted to go to Best of the West this year, but couldn't afford it. And like I just think that the Mexican scene is really inspirational, and I don't know, I think it'd be cool to maybe that could make a fun YouTube video. I lived in Mexico for a month for Smash. We'll see.
There you go. Big content brain right there. Question number 8. If you had all that legwork and situated, what FGC game or game series would you do the character crisis for? Provided, you have all these extra resources so that you can just focus on the creation portion. What would be that FGC game to do the character crisis for?
Yeah, I mean, I do like Guilty Gear a lot. Yeah, I do like Guilty Gear a lot. I play May and Testament in that game. And I just, it's just a cool game. Krieg is actually like also really good at Guilty Gear. I think they won Level Up Expo with Happy Chaos. But I think Guilty Gear has really cool and unique characters. I'd like to explore that. I love Tekken. Like I play it very casually. I'm not a competitive Tekken player at all. But there's our local barcade. They've got like a Tekken tag tournament machine. I would love to do a character crisis series for Melee, but I want to keep playing Mewtwo, so we're gonna focus on him first because I really do believe in his potential. But other FGCs, I really like the concept of what's it called? It's a turn-based fighting game. Does that make sense? Though you get like the stick figures. Let's see if I have it. It's a really trying to remember actionable. The game pauses so you can input an action. So as like, yeah. So if a move takes 10 frames to finish, and your opponent does a move that takes 14 frames to finish, the game will then advance forward by 10 frames until you get to do your move. And then, yeah, so that's the way it works out. It confuses the hell out of me every time I look at that screen. But I can't deny that it's fascinating, and I think it'd be cool to.
What would be the speed running? What would be the series of games that you would do speed running character crisis series on?
I mean, Easy Speezy already has that figured out, so I don't know if I would necessarily make a character crisis speedrunning series, but I have considered speedrunning like Link Between Worlds, the 3DS game, because it's my favorite Zelda game, and I think the speedrun for it is pretty neat. I have considered speedrunning Melee. A game that I really like is called Shattered Pixel Dungeon. It's a mobile game, and I don't know if I would want to speedrun it though, because you'd have to play differently than the way I like to play the game. But I don't know. I don't really see myself getting into speedrunning anytime soon, but at the same time, I'm not opposed to the idea. Like I've tried to speedrun Minecraft, that didn't go well.
People speedrun Google Solitaire Easy Mode and Google Solitaire Hard Mode. And I took a screenshot because I play at work every now and then. And had I had the ability to record myself, I would have been 210th in the world at beating easy Google Solitaire at 2 minutes. But they don't accept screenshots. So maybe try that.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of that like one Jaden Animations video where she was just like, I speedran Cooking Mama 2 because there's nobody on the leaderboards and I could become number 1.
Yep, that's the other move to do. It's pretty fun. Question number 9. We're in the penultimate one. If you were to have a meta series of YouTube channels, what would be the meta series for all of your different YouTube channels? And how would you describe, let's say, the 5 channels that fall under that main meta series?
YouTube channels to go alongside my current one, what kind of content I would explore.
And how
Okay.
do they unify at the top?
I don't know how I would unify it beyond the branding of only on Tuesdays, truthfully. Because, like, I do have 100 Layers of Legends Vampires video talking about how to use vampires in Dungeons and Dragons as a DM. But I was specifically trying to copy the style of like ContraPoints and Philosophy Tube, and they're like really highly produced, multiple camera angles, different costuming sort of style. And I tried. It's a private video for a reason.
Yep.
You know, maybe 100,000 subscriber special as I go back and watch my first video. But I do generally believe that like my Layers of Legend series could turn into a really good YouTube series. It's just that I've already published them under the Only on Tuesdays brand name, just as article content, not video content. And if I were to start uploading these videos for my D&D side of things, you know, a lot of the Smash players would be like, why are you uploading this? Because they just don't know my history. You know, I don't know if I would get back into making Magic content, unfortunately. There's this YouTuber named Savannah Brown, and she falls under this like genre of YouTubers that will produce content that feels very casual and personal, but is actually highly scripted and edited content. And the way it works is it's kind of like free-form poetry in a sense. And so it comes across as like captional, but ultimately what the person is saying is more along the lines of poetry than just like a conversation. And so Savannah Brown is just one of my all-time favorite YouTubers. Every single one of her videos that she makes, it just feels really impactful and prescient. Yeah, sorry, creative writing made. But it didn't start that way. And so I learned a lot about the history of Zion National Park and how it was originally called Mahuntinweep Monument, something like that. It was using a native word for the thing, and it was getting negative. It was getting like 100 visitors something about Zion. I don't really know the exact title, but I have a picture that I really about that of this like red rock mountain face, just kind of like taking up the entire frame. The sun is just barely coming up over the edge of it. I'll link the picture so that way people can see what I'm talking about. But what that video would then end up being is I would set myself in Zion, so I'd have to travel back to Zion to record this video. And I would do this style of content where I talk about park, but also it's to me and my story. And at that time in my life, when I went hiking through Zion, it was actually when I was divorcing my wife. And so this park took on this like, and you know, I went to Zion to go to my ex-brother-in-law's wedding. Like I got invited to that wedding after I broke up with my ex, and it was like I go and support him, but like I don't want to see her. Zion is Mahuntinweep, and like I would talk about the history of that too, and I would just try to like weave it all together, and she's just like, I have a grand vision in mind, but I want to focus on it when I can. Yeah, and I do believe, yeah, this is the picture. So if you can put that on the screen eventually, I think that'd be cool. But yeah, no, so I think that like a half hiking channel, half long form poetry channel is something I'd love to make. And then last answer, because I need 5 channels. I love Minecraft. I'd probably just do like a Let's Play Minecraft
series. Do a Minecraft one, the classic one. All right, let's see if this one showed up.
I drop everything. Yeah. I'll say this. Whenever Ethos Lab uploads a new video, I am dropping everything to watch it. It does not matter what I'm doing. That becomes my next priority. Yeah, it is kind of funny, though, that I took all that time to explain this like channel only to then be like, yeah, the pictures on that hike. And like that would be part of the video is just like all these different pictures of the landscape around me. But another important aspect of that hike was not just the pictures I took of the natural beauty around me, but of the people hiking through that park. Um, I don't know. There's just something significant about that to me. These millions of strangers that I'll never see again. But you know, like like that would be a point where I would talk in the script where I'd talk about what it was like to move to Salt Lake City, but be so alone at the same time.
I hear that, man. Crazy in depth. Only for the last one to be Minecraft. Last
Not yet.
No, huh? We haven't talked about Tuesdays. Let's talk about Tuesdays real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can just quickly say that I just chose only on Tuesdays because it was just a phrase I said a lot in middle school. And then the way I chose my tag, I was watching Wreck-It Ralph. Great movie, one of my favorite movies. But the villain in that movie is named TuesdayTastic. And so I just had the idea for TuesdayTastic, and I was like, you know what? I'm making that mine. And then I later found out that I was born on a Thursday, unfortunately.
No!
But I know, right? But I've even started going by Tuesday as part of my door-to-door sales job. I'll just introduce myself as, "Hi, I'm Tuesday." And it's so funny because people will be like, "Your parents did not do that to you." And I'm like, "No, they didn't. I did this to myself." But yeah, I don't know why I like Tuesdays so much. I guess all the other days of the week felt like they had something significant about them. Like Wednesday has Hump Day, Thursday is Thor's, but nobody remembers Tuesday anyways. It's
fine. That's true. I want to thank you for spending your time here. Thank you for, talking about like something that like people don't think about, content creation, the very like weird nitty-gritty background ideas and concepts and way to it is that moment right there and then, because you never know where it would lead you. Also outrageous.
Yeah, I could have started my channel at the beginning of Ultimate. I could have really rode that wave of success had I been smart enough to actually make content at the start of Ultimate. But I'm the kind of person who needs a good angle for my content, and itself until after Ultimate was dead. That's okay. I was indirectly. Look, I was just voicing the concerns of the community, and they just happened to crib my notes. Like, that's all. That's all that happened.
Once again, Tuesday, thank you very much. Last second shout outs. Where can they find you? I know that I linked everything into the description, but what last things do you have for us as we end this call?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, what are you doing? It's right there, only on Tuesdays. But I'd also say check out my Twitter. I'm pretty active on there. I'd also say check out my website. If you play Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons at all, or are just like casually interested in it, and you want to check out some of my older writing, like yeah, I got hundreds of articles on there, not even kidding. And yeah, so I'd say those are the three main places to check me out.
All right, man. Thank you so very much. Start waving goodbyes. Start waving. That was good times, chat. That was good times. That was awesome. Tuesday, thank you for being here. That delay, I realized I cut you off at something. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how big of a delay there was. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting Tuesday. Thank you for supporting Tuesday on Saturday, or for the next couple of months. We got our next guest for next month. That's going to be really fun. We have our guest for 2 months from now. Hopefully that turns out well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us. As much as you paid attention, did or didn't, it's been a good time. Go follow them on their socials. Go support using their promo codes or whatever. Go to all their shills. Go to their Patreon. Subscribe to all the stuff. Seeing you. Take care.